My fiance was denied a promotion because he refused to accept an award he was given.
Why didn't you accept the award?
Because he doesn't want to be employee of the month anymore.
It's too much, guys.
These kids,
Little old me?
He's not about all the praise. So, hey guys, longtime lurker in need of some advice. My fiance was recommended / given a training assignment some months back for a vacancy that would be opening. And he showed me a review at the end that he received where he received great marks. However, to his surprise, he wasn't given the position and he was the only person training for it. He's been feeling down the last couple of days, but he has told me something that I didn't know. By the way, this comes from Lore on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, a few weeks back, he was given an award in a meeting that he returned to his boss. Same boss who recommended him for the vacancy because he doesn't like awards.
He's like, I just don't like him.
And he never told me about it either, which I feel like when you're given something to someone out of the kindness of your heart, I think you just accept it.
I think so. I think also people like giving gifts and sometimes it's just like they take it to heart when you don't accept.
He also told his boss he didn't appreciate being blindsided.
This is weird.
That's weird. And he admitted he was emotionally stressed from the meeting when he talked to him the same day. He also told him to never give him an award again, and he thinks that's the reason he didn't get the promotion. That's a really weird response.
Honestly, that is really weird, and the boss is probably like, well, I don't know if I want to work with this guy and more.
When I asked why he didn't tell me about it, he says that work was his space and it didn't concern me, and that honestly hurt. I'm getting red flag after red flag.
I don't like this guy's weird.
He also said he's thinking about leaving the company and he's been there since he interned in college. My mom said to suggest that he talk to a professional about why he was bothered by the award / our relationship. But Dad said I should reconsider because he created a fan to walk into. What does that mean?
A fan, he created a fan?
He created a fan to walk into that hurt his career.
Yeah.
I want to see if he'll talk to a professional before reconsidering, but Dad said I shouldn't even give him a chance. I believe I'm making the right decision by seeing if he's open to it, not just for the job stuff, but also for our relationship. But I want to ask if I'm going about it correctly. Relevant comments. So we got some relevant comments and an update.
Yes.
I'm sure it did hurt his career. He was ungracious and humiliated his boss publicly.
And specifically him being like,
I don't appreciate being blindsided.
Yeah. Katera Rain says, true life, I am the a-hole. OP responds, literally said he couldn't focus, although he went to his office and returned to it after the meeting and not during it. But still, he said he couldn't focus for the rest of the day and brought a lot of emotions into the office when he went. And we do have an update. Belton says, you're allowed to not accept awards, but this was way too strong.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, he did this publicly.
He did it publicly. He did it kind of rudely.
He did it rudely.
Kind of insulted his boss at that point.
Have you lost your mind?
Also, I think as I feel like you should just accept gifts generally, unless it's from the mob.
Unless there's some sort of strings
Weird
attached to it, why not?
Yeah. But let us know if you would have accepted the gift, or do you think OP's significant other did anything wrong? But we got an update. So before suggesting therapy, I asked him to further explain why he returned the award when everything seemed to be going well for him. And I want to remind you that he showed me a written review of his training assignment that he worked on for a few months that came back with great remarks, albeit nothing about returning the reward that had nothing to do with it. He said that he viewed work awards similar to participation trophies that he wanted no part of. He's like, if you want to reward me, freaking give me some money.
Give me a promotion.
Yeah. Or I don't know, give me some kind of vacation.
I think if he had, let's say he gets the award and doesn't get a promotion, he never made this outburst, and he, takes the award, doesn't get the promotion, it would then make sense for him to go back and be like, dude, I don't care about this freaking award. I want actual compensation for my work. That would make sense. But this is...
But you can't do that publicly either.
No, you can't, of course.
But you can do this privately and it'll probably not be bad.
But I think in this situation, it seems like he's just upset that he got an award, even though he was going to get a promotion too.
Yeah, pretty wackadoodle.
His foot stands whack.
He said that he viewed worked awards similar to participation trophies and that he wanted no part of it. But when I asked if his reward was that, he said it was a certificate recognizing him for his work along with training / assisting others when his boss asked him to, sometimes mostly on computer. When someone didn't know how to do something, he'd show them over Microsoft Teams. He specifically said it wasn't a participation award, but that he viewed all rewards the same.
So it wasn't even about?
I mean, I understand that there's like I always see this on Reddit
Yeah.
where it's like,
It's crazy because we're on Reddit right now.
yeah, I know. I use Reddit sometimes, but it's like on this subreddit, like no work or something, or anti-work, and it'll be like, oh, look, instead of my office giving me the raise I deserve, they gave me a printout saying, you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
I can see that being annoying, but I feel like, he's not playing the office politics necessary to
No.
get a raise.
I feel like a lot of times, promotion is the work that you do, but it's also the ability to make relationships. And
Oh,
stuff,
yeah. I would say it's like 50-50 or even
Yeah.
80-20, 80% your ability to do relationships and 20% your ability to do the work.
People like to work. This was a huge thing with when I was in theater school of talking to my teachers who were like, if you can be a great actor, if people don't want to work with you, they're not going to work with you. If you're hard to work with, you're not going to get hired unless you're like obviously a famous person or something. But if you're a small time person, no one's going to hire you if they don't like you.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. So he also said it'd make it awkward when he helped people in the future because awards make people seem less genuine, and that returning it showed he was down to earth. I don't know about that.
I don't know.
When I asked why he couldn't just accept the reward and do whatever he wanted with it at home, he said it was a gesture to show he wasn't a management up.
So it seems like his view is not even like, oh, they weren't, they're not treating me fairly. It was just like, I was going to show them that I was quirky.
Yeah, I think he has it all wrong. And that he'd be the same person after getting promoted. He also said he saw someone lose friends at work after crossing over to management side because it was an us versus them mentality. And he compared his gesture to the person who rejected the Nobel Peace Prize that he heard referenced in Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
What? He's
so
like,
him
I'm Captain America.
Objecting to this workplace participation trophy is basically like that guy rejecting the Nobel Peace Prize in The Winter Soldier.
Yeah, you got me there. Put this guy on the big screen.
Yeah.
He's saving
lives. He's fighting for the people.
Yeah.
He's fighting for the people. However, he knew nothing about it besides the reference because he loves Marvel movies and didn't even know the guy's name. But when I asked if he regretted it, since everything seemed to go well with his training before the issue he likely made for himself, he said he was considering suing the company because he was treated unfairly, and he wasn't open to therapy because he did nothing wrong. When I told him that it hurt when he said that his work life didn't concern me, he said there were many things he said at work that I wouldn't approve of, but that it was his space, just like managers who talked behind coworkers' backs.
What is he saying at work?
I have no idea. Probably some sexist stuff. But when I reminded him that we were engaged in incomparable to a coworker/manager relationship, he said I wasn't supporting him and didn't want couples counseling either, and that's pretty much how it went. So he's like not trying to fix anything.
No, this guy sounds like a nightmare in all aspects of his life. He's like, oh, I can't do that either. No, I can't accept that. No, thank you.
He sounds terrible.
Yeah, I hate him.
You hate him?
I hate him.
What if he's going through the death of the mother,
I hate him.
Dang.
Damn.
The reason I spoke to my parents before we talked was because of an idea he floated in my first post that I didn't mention, and I want to explain it because some said I threw him under the bus to my parents, so I'll explain why. He said he was considering working a retail job in the meantime after quitting because he thinks he hit a dead end, and he said he'd be more respected there too in a retail job. I mean, like in a retail job, you're going to start from the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have any experience there, so he's gonna maybe he feels like his personality can do better in a retail job. I don't know.
I doubt it. I don't think he's getting a lot of commissions with this attitude.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. I survived off commissions in my retail job.
Because you're a nice person.
I used to work at Nike.
Yeah, but you worked at Australia Nike.
Yeah, Australian, and they paid actually decent.
Mm-hmm.
It was in Australian dollars, but yeah, dude. And I got fat. Well, I didn't get fat commission. I got 1%, but it was still good. It was still good.
You got something.
It was something. The other reason I told my parents was because we were looking at a home to buy, but those plans have changed and he wants to stay in our apartment. And that was before he mentioned anything about suing the company. He said he didn't mind making less if it meant having more respect. And I was willing to try and work things out if he considered therapy or couples counseling. But now that he's refused and doubled down, I told him that I'm reconsidering, and he didn't like that and said I wasn't on his side, just like his boss.
Everyone's working against me.
So I feel like he's about to just completely implode his
Yes.
relationship and his career.
Yeah, he's just making these choices, these huge choices. And he's like, I'm in the right and no one understands me and you're all haters and I don't need you. And then he's going to like walk out and put sunglasses on.
So, same boss who recommended him for the vacancy and gave him the award and has been distant since.
Yeah, because he insulted him.
He's slept by himself on the couch and even ate dinner on his own the past few nights. And I'm trying to see if my parents can let me bring some stuff to their place come Friday. Okay, really quick. It sounds like they're like thinking about separating.
Sounds like it. Well, because OP was saying there was a lot of other problems in the relationship and she suggested couples counseling and he was like, no.
Yeah.
So there's all these other things.
If you're not going to, it sounds like she's like down to work on it because it's not anything. There's not like a big thing that's causing them to break up, but it sounds like he's not giving an inch.
Yeah,
you know?
he's just not listening to anyone.
Yeah. So I feel like he threw everything away for no reason. Got a great review on his training, made an issue out of nothing when there was none. Learning about everything he kept from me still hurts. And I might try to talk to someone myself, but it really hurts because he basically said I never knew him at work. And maybe that's just how he is when he's not with me. Edit, the idea to reject the award came from Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and the guy who was referenced in the movie for rejecting the Nobel Peace Prize from what he told me, but he didn't even know the guy's name or anything beyond it came from the movie because he's a big Marvel fan. He also said it was a selfless thing to do and showed he wasn't a management awards stuck up to his coworkers who'd appreciate a down-to-earth manager when he crossed over into management. He also said it was something selfless Captain America would do. He said he wants to sue because he was wrongfully removed from consideration for the position for personally not liking awards, despite a great written review on his training assignment, and that it would help fellow employees who felt pressured to take management awards to move up because he believes that all awards are participation trophies. As a result of trying to talk to him and see if he'd be interested in couples therapy, he refused to think that he did anything wrong and still plans to sue. And I based my reconsidering of the relationship on his willingness to get counseling. I will be trying to move everything to my parents on Friday, but he's been treating me as if I don't exist because he knows that I'm done. He's eaten dinner alone, slept alone, and barely says a word to me anymore because I'm attacking him like his boss. So I'm trying to get to Friday, but it's been hard because he's turned on me. There are relevant comments and an update.
This guy's whack.
Question.
Yeah.
Do you think there's something else going on?
Mentally?
Or in his life? Like, I feel like this is a sudden turn and there must be something going on in his life that we're not privy to, because to implode his
Over Captain America?
career. Yeah, maybe he was really inspired by the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
But to implode your career and relationship over a movie feels kind of crazy.
I agree.
He's like, Captain America wouldn't get therapy. Why would I?
It doesn't make any sense.
Because Captain America would get therapy.
Captain America totally would get therapy. He needs therapy.
Yeah, he's
probably in active therapy.
He's like,
He
this girl that I love
invented therapy.
died while I was in the ice of old age. Like he's
got a lot to talk about, man.
Got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, honestly, I totally understand why she's considering ending this relationship because this is weird. This is weird behavior.
But we got some relevant comments and an update. So everyone else is giving you good advice. So I just want to bring up something else. The guy he's quoting from the Winter Soldier is Nick Fury talking about Alexander Pierce, the guy who rejected the Nobel Peace Prize because he said peace wasn't an achievement, it was a responsibility. Alexander Pierce turns out to be the villain of the movie. Spoilers, but Pierce is a Hydra agent, the coded fascist and antagonist organization of the movies, and is about unaliving millions of people for the sake of peace before being stopped by Captain America.
I could do this all day.
Like your boyfriend's apparently a Marvel fan, but looks up to the fascist genocidal maniac for his life quotes and work ethic. I mean, he is sort of destroying himself for the sake of his own ego while also taking you down with him. Falls in line with a lot of Marvel villains, to be honest. Cap isn't the one rejecting the award. And OP responds, it's crazy how he based his whole decision around a movie that maybe he didn't even fully understand. And now he wants to sue the company for the employees who felt pressured to accept management rewards because he thinks he's fighting for them or something along with how he was wrongfully refused the position for not liking awards, which shows how he doesn't get it. But he thinks he's a hero for fighting for other employees. Man is delusional.
Yeah, it's just this is the weirdest hill to die on. I don't understand. He's like, I have to do it for the little guy, but what are you actually doing?
And I really don't think people are as up in arms about these
cares
management
about these
awards
awards.
as you are.
No one cares about these
No
awards.
one cares. No one cares. OP on ending her relationship with Fiancé as he might have mental health issues. OP responds, that's where I'm at. And I'm just trying to get everything to my parents at the moment. He literally said he was doing a selfless thing by returning it and doesn't seem to get it. And he didn't seem to care when I told him how my feelings were hurt.
No, he doesn't care. He's on his crusade right now. He doesn't care about anybody else.
I literally thought everything was going great at his job, and it sounded like it was until he self-sabotaged for some reason. Like, I was surprised because I read his review from the vacancy training, and it was really good. And he developed a good relationship with his boss, who recommended him for it up until the award thing. I'm going to the update, y'all. Oh, yeah, Sophia, what do you think about this guy?
He's weird. He's weird, man. Divorce him.
Divorce him.
I mean, actually, pre-divorce him. Really, his fiance.
But update. So we're turning to this because a lot of people reached out and were helpful. And I appreciate everyone who did. I'm currently at my parents' and my ex-fiance was pestering me to move everything to their home before Friday when I eventually did. And it was really stressful. However, he did something that I didn't expect before I moved on Friday and I'm still dealing with. And a lot of friends and family know about it now because of what he did before I got around to telling them. What do you think he did, Fia?
I don't know. I don't have any ideas.
Well, apparently, he made a Facebook post that was pretty long, and he posted it on Twitter too. Long story short, he addressed the coworkers about what happened with his promotion and said that many of them were likely wondering what had happened and that he wanted to explain his side before the wrong people did.
The thing is, not only do people not care about these awards, they also don't care about you.
But he's Captain America of
Captain
the workplace.
America's like, I have to get ahead of this story before it breaks.
Yeah. He wrote that his bosses wrongfully rescinded the promotion because he told his bosses that he didn't like awards, and he included the manager's
He's gonna
name.
get fired.
Hey, that's how you get a promotion. You call out publicly on social media the people who can get you a promotion.
Yeah, and you say, I want a promotion.
Yep, and
You
you're a
guys
bad
suck.
person. Yep, dude, one simple hack.
Easy.
Jim Halpert, welcome.
He wrote about his conversation with his boss and how he respectfully spoke to him in his office instead of refusing the award at the meeting because he wanted to show respect. He also said that his manager previously knew about his anxiety surrounding awards and chose to give it to him anyway when he knew it would hurt his focus. But he never once mentioned anything about anxiety to me.
Yeah, now he's just making things up.
He never mentioned anxiety in the past, and he never mentioned that he spoke to his boss about anxiety too.
Liar!
Because I doubt he actually did.
I think he's just trying to make himself the victim.
Yeah, he's trying to twist anything that he can to victimize himself and be the hero in the story.
He also left out what he told me about how he was emotional when he spoke to his boss and said some things he probably shouldn't have. He left out the part about being blindsided by the award and don't ever give me awards ever again. And my dad thinks he's lying about having talked to his boss about anxiety to look like a martyr.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Also, I feel like OP's parents do not like this guy.
No, they're like, oh, thank God.
Finally, Jesus, this
They're
guy
like,
sucks.
he's a bloody martyr.
He thinks he made it up to draw pity, and the rest of his post made him think that too. When he wrote about how he was going to sue the company, he said he was doing it for others who may feel pressured to take awards in order to move up.
He's phrasing it like it's, like when people feel pressured to sleep with managers. That's how he's phrasing it. He's like,
They feel pressure to take these awards to move up in their careers, but I won't let that happen.
which is that those are not the same things. These are awards. These are like nice things where they're like, oh, I'm gonna show appreciation.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think he just wants to be the main character.
I think so too. I
think
think
he
he's
just
like bored in his life.
He's just bored in his life, and he's like,
yeah,
making
and he's like,
it,
well, I can't cheat on my fiance,
Yeah.
so
I'm gonna
start
talk
a
about
revolution at my
awards.
work.
Yeah, I feel it's like like those politicians that like run and they're like, my daughter twice removed on my mother's cousin's side got ran over by the train, so my policy is train safety.
Train safety.
It's just like he's just choosing like a random thing to
Yeah.
stick his flag into.
Mm-hmm.
and that he was fighting for them. He said it was unfair of his boss to refuse him for mental health reasons he knew beforehand, and he wanted to pave the way for others with mental health challenges. He also said he was inspired by NBA player Kyrie Irving. He's also a basketball fan.
You've got a Kyrie Irving face. Dude, you're Kyrie Irving!
He needs to stop being inspired by people.
Who refused to get vaccinated and sacrificed salary/backlash. The Brooklyn Nets didn't allow him to play for many games due to being unvaccinated, to be a voice for the voiceless.
So of the people that he's inspired by, it's a fascist leader and an anti-vaxxer?
Basketball player.
Basketball player.
Bruh. I don't know about you. He wanted to be a voice for the voiceless, for other people who didn't want to be vaccinated. And while he disagreed with Kyrie's stance on vaccinations, we are both vaccinated. What? He's like, yeah, I disagree with like the whole anti-vax
Fundamentally,
movement.
I disagree.
And I disagree with the whole fascist thing. But
like,
I just want you to know that my two favorite people that I admire most are a fascist and an anti-vaxxer.
I just want to say, he stood his ground.
Also, Kyrie Irving is a flat earther too, apparently. That's funny.
But he plays with a round ball.
Yeah, and he's good at it. He
What's
must
he
be
doing?
good at brain things. You know, a brain's kind of
Apparently
round.
not.
He admired how he fought and forced the Brooklyn Nets to play him and cave as they struggled in the standings/injuries, and showed that corporations would eventually cave to employees.
These are
I don't
the
know if you
worst
have the sway.
examples.
I don't know if you have the sway you think you do.
These are the worst examples you could have possibly chosen.
Heidi says he sounds like a moron.
Yes. He sounds stupid.
Like Kiri, my ex-fiance said he wanted to be a voice for the voiceless who felt pressured to accept awards to move up at his job. He also said he wanted to make management cave to him, and that was the reason he was suing for the employees. It's not for himself. For the greater
for the
good.
little guys.
He also wrote that I had broken up with him because I didn't support his mental health condition, just like his boss. But he never once mentioned anything related to mental health to me ever. Heck, he left out all the details about how he told his boss off, and my dad said he might be making it up to create a case when he knows he has none, or just wants to smear the company. Dad has also begun calling him the fake Captain America from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and he showed me some clips about the TV show when I asked what he meant.
This is accurate though, because I hated that guy. So the plot of the Winter Soldier is that there's this one guy who kind of steps up to become Captain America, while Sam is also trying to become Captain America, or is Captain America. And the fake guy, he like goes on this like government-backed rampage where he's like, I need to stop this rebellion that's going on. And then he like unalives someone, like who's part of the rebels or whatever. And then they just gloss over that. They're like, oh yeah, but he learned his lesson. He like tries to save a bus at the end.
I remember you telling me about that.
It made me so angry. Like he got the redemption arc, and the rebel leader who actually was good didn't. That's ridiculous. That is this guy.
Sophia Callan says sounds like a manic episode.
Maybe. If this is all like really sudden stuff.
Because it feels completely...
Yeah. It feels like the boss didn't see it coming, and OP didn't see it coming.
So going back to my ex-fiance, he also wrote he was glad to find out I didn't support mental health before we had kids, which really surprised me because I suggested couples counseling together. But he told me he didn't need it because he did nothing wrong. He also wrote that I refuse to spicy sleep with him after he opened up about his anxiety, when he was the one who opted to sleep away from me on the couch after he accused me of not supporting him like his boss. He also said he was talking to someone he knew who was a union shop steward for advice, and he said there'd be more in the future too. A lot of friends and relatives called me and my parents in the aftermath of his post, mostly those who saw the Facebook one I was tagged in, and my parents and I have been telling them our side. I also received DMs from people telling me off for not supporting his mental health, who I'm guessing are his friends, and some of them were really vulgar too. That only happened on my Instagram, but I blocked them because I don't know them. But it's been stressful after he tagged me in his post, and I'm honestly tired of repeating myself to everyone. However, I don't believe in engaging him/drama on social media, so I've continued to explain to everyone who's reaching out with the help of my parents. The other thing that sucks is how he called my job after I moved out and told them that I said a lot of ableist things about him and his mental health conditions, which wasn't true.
What is he doing?
I feel like OP is trying to run and he's just dragging her back in.
Yeah. What is he doing? He's pulling he's making this super public.
And while I don't think it'll amount to anything, I had to speak with HR about it, which surprised me. Dad doesn't think anything will come from it either, but he's been livid, and I am honestly too. Dad has also suggested a lawyer after how he called my job, and it's something we're investigating for maybe defamation. Don't know if that's a proper term, but maybe something in the ballpark of what he's doing. I just hope he stops, but he doesn't seem to be from his post and calling my job, and he said there'd be more to come to. I just hope he stops with me, at least, because I could care less if he wants to sue on his own. But we will see what Dad and I come up with a lawyer. And edit, I want to clarify something that many people seemed unsure about. Some people asked if he really is in the running for a promotion or if he made that up.
Yeah, was he just lying this whole time?
I mean, he's lying about so much, so maybe.
I wouldn't put it past him.
I saw a physical review that he brought home detailing the training assignment and the scores of the duties he performed when it was done, and it was related to the position he was training for. The scores were really good, and he had no negative marks about the training. Returning award was unrelated to the training. His manager also took him out to dinner a few weeks before he returned the reward in regards to the promotion too. I also saw some confusing stuff about when my ex-fiance returned the award, and many asked if he returned it during the meeting to make a statement to his coworkers. He returned it after the meeting and after spending time at his desk where he said he was uneasy, and that led him to go to his manager's office where he told him to never give him an award again. Okay, so he didn't do that in public.
Okay. Well, it still doesn't change much.
In regards to how he showed his coworkers he wasn't a up, he said he told them in passing in the days after he returned it to the boss, which is the kind of public part of it.
Yes. And what did they say? Were they like, that's cool, I guess?
I don't know. I can't imagine that it would go
Yeah,
over
if someone
well.
told me that, they were like, oh, the boss tried to give me an award, and I was like, no, can't do that. I'm fighting for the little man.
I'd be like, cool, dude. Nice. The award had nothing to do with the promotion he was training for and wasn't the certificate needed for it. The award was given for how he helped others on Microsoft Teams through screen sharing when the boss asked him to assist others many times, and it wasn't related to his training assignment. And there is another update.
Man, oh man. Man, oh man. Belton says, OMG, he wants to be a martyr so bad. Yeah.
I mean, what do you do with this guy? He's
Yeah,
like
because
trying to ruin everything, and he's
Yeah,
calling.
he's already broken up, basically.
Well, I feel like we're in like restraining order territory.
I think so.
pretty
I think
soon.
you could sue him for like libel or whatever.
Yeah, and also just like,
That's
I mean,
libel, right?
like he's trying to get you fired.
Yeah. It's libel if it's written, right? Or is it slander?
I forget.
I think
I
it's
think libel
if
is
it's
written.
Yeah.
But we got another update.
Oh boy.
This will probably be my last update for a while. So I decided to make it an edit instead, since it seems to have surpassed the amount of updates I can have on the subreddit. So my dad was able to get in touch with a lawyer, and he agreed with the suggestion that many gave to send a cease and desist letter to my ex, we'll call him Nate, specifically for contacting my job along with posting/tagging me on his social media rants. We are considering other action too, but I wanted to touch on that because many suggested it. Things have also quieted down at my job since HR called me in to talk about how Nate called them, and we had another meeting too. Long story short, I gave them the full picture and they agreed that he was being vindictive. I also showed them the social media rant he made, and that cemented just how delusional he was. However, Dad suggested something else too. He suggested that I call my ex's company to see if I could speak to someone there, and I was able to speak with Nate's manager after explaining who I was to someone else. He ended up calling me back on the same day, and I told him that I just wanted to ask him about a few things. So I think we're going to get the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I told him, we'll call him John, about how Nate had become my ex after his Facebook rant, and he said he saw it too from an employee who showed him. I also told him about how he contacted my job too. When I asked about the promotion that Nate was training for, he confirmed it was real and that Nate was the only candidate, and he opened up about his decision to recommend him. He said he saw potential in Nate since he started working there in college as an intern, and he called him a hard worker. He was younger then, but he tried to support him. He gave him extra work that resulted in more hours when he wanted more in his early days, and he also helped him become full-time too. He said he was smart, honors in high school and in college, and it showed at work too. He also said Nate used to be humble and appreciative.
Until he got too humble.
Long
and
gone
circle
are
back
these
around
days.
to boastful.
Yeah, I also like that we're getting the whole
lore.
lore.
Mhm.
I mean, I feel like Nate's like, I built this company from nothing.
You
Do you know
were
how much I
nothing without me.
sacrificed?
You know how much I sacrificed?
Yeah, and now he's like, the boss is like, I don't know, I just wanted to help him out.
Yeah.
He seemed like a good kid. Apparently not.
Apparently not. Oh,
Yeah.
he's maybe, I don't know. He's got to be going through something.
I think so. I mean, he's brought up a lot about like mental health and stuff and anxiety, so there must be some sliver of truth in there.
You got to believe it.
You gotta believe.
He also said Nate used to be humble and appreciative, but that he let it go to his head somewhere along the way. His annual reviews were among the best, and he recommended him for the vacancy that was opening up because he thought he'd do well. He called him into the office and told him that he wanted to offer him training for the vacancy. Belton says the boss really shouldn't be talking about this, to be honest.
Yeah, he's just kind of telling her everything. He's like, yeah, this happened to you too. Let's chat. Let's have a little goss session.
Yeah, is that like, I feel like that would be an HR issue.
I think so.
Tia says from an HR standpoint, his returning the award would put me off because it would show that he's not a team player. Not a phrase I like, but it'd make me wary about him, and he'd be on my HR radar. Tia, tying into your HR radar, what do you think about this whole situation
Talking to the boss.
of talking to the boss and the boss divulging all of this? Does that get in your HR radar too? Let us know.
Does that set off your HR senses?
Spidey senses. Yeah, let us know. They wanted to offer him training for the vacancy, and it would have come with a nice raise too. They wanted to hire within, and he wanted to reward him for his hard work. And Tia said, yup. So,
Oh, it does set off the senses.
yeah, set off the senses.
So maybe there is something going on in this workplace. It's a little fishy.
There was no applying for the vacancy at all. He asked if he was interested, and he said that he was, and he began training shortly after. The training lasted a few months, but he said he aced it. When I told him that he showed me the review of his training, he said it was true and that he did well, but when it came to the award, he got too buddy-buddy with how he talked to him, and he told me some things that I didn't know. My ex told me that the award was for helping people through Microsoft Teams through screen sharing, but he received it for far more than that. He would stay late to help people with assignments that were not his responsibility, and he helped someone meet a deadline by staying late when it would have been late otherwise. In regard to the award, he received a certificate along with PTO during the meeting.
So what's that?
He got a vacation.
This is not even a participation trophy. This is an actual award. He got stuff.
He got something for it.
Ay, ay, ay.
And John said he shyfully accepted it. However, sometime after the meeting, on that same day, Nate went to his office and he was unlike himself. But when John asked if something was wrong, Nate went off the rails and looked stressed. I wonder why he's stressed. When I asked if Nate told him to never give him an award again, he confirmed that he did, along with the blindsiding comment. He also raised his voice and used some profanity.
So even it's gone through this kind of telephone thing of what actually happened. Like there was profanity and yelling, and then it goes to OP and it's like, oh, I told him that he blindsided me, and then it goes to Facebook and it's like, I didn't do anything. I was very polite.
Yeah.
Lies upon
Lies.
lies.
John tried to calm him down and he wouldn't have it. He stormed out of the office and left the award there. But then when his boss tried to find him a few minutes later, he found that he had left almost an hour earlier than he should have clocked out. He tried to call him to see if he was all right, but he didn't answer to 2 consecutive calls, and I had no clue about him leaving early. When he came in the next day, his boss went to his cubicle and asked if everything was all right. But when he asked if they could talk in his office, Nate refused and said there was nothing to talk about. But when John said he wanted to make sure he was fine, he cursed at him from his cubicle, and others heard it too. So while his training review came back sensational, John said that effectively ended his chances for promotion because he was done with him. I mean, obviously that would make you done with him because
I'd
you
be like,
cursed
yelled
out the
at
boss.
me. Yeah.
You can't do that. He tried to be reasonable and gave him a chance to explain himself instead of getting on him for leaving early, but he spat in his face.
Like metaphorically?
I think legitimately.
Physically? Literally?
Literally.
Read the next sentence.
I just realized I parked on the street without a thing.
Do you want to go check?
I'm going to go check. 1 sec.
Pause. Tia says, anytime an employee speaks to anyone outside of the company, whether it's a partner or a parent, it can be a violation of company policy as well, but I understand the desire to help. Eliana Bain says, I know more bad than good ones. I had a therapist that asked me if I had a kid every session and hit on me when he would come into work. Ooh. Duchess Cassandra says, does this man have a brain tumor or something? Mental break? The sudden change is concerning. I agree. And I don't understand. Again, like, we've already heard from OP and the boss that this behavior was totally out of the blue. Like, OP was like, I did not recognize it. Well, no, I was going to say maybe there was a chance that there was something happening with the fiance for her to be willing to go to like couples counseling. So maybe this was an ongoing problem. But I think this behavior alone would merit couples counseling. Irish Gig says, spitting on someone is disgusting. I think this man is headed for a breakdown. Yeah, or well underway. Given the people that he's trying to emulate, it's not looking too good for this man. I think his name is Nate. I think his name is Nate. I think Sam's returned. Did you get a ticket? Oh, you're not Sam? Awesome. It's Dakota. We're taking a pause in the story because Sam forgot he parked without a thing.
Yep, he's in for a world of hurt.
A world of
from
hurt.
the parking
I've done
bureau.
it many a time.
That's right. I actually shouldn't be up here right now. Riley's probably gonna kill me if he finds out I sat down here. So, bye everybody.
He's leaving again. And Sam has returned. Back into it.
So I didn't tell HR about how he returned the award the day before because he wanted to give him a chance and felt that he might have triggered some trauma. But when he cursed at him the following day, that was it.
Yeah.
He told his manager/HR everything that happened and said he was wrong about him and wasn't mature enough. And he said it hurt because he put himself out on a limb to recommend him when the other managers wanted to hire someone older. Throughout our conversation, he kept saying that he was a good kid and that he saw himself in him. But the more he thought about it, he said he might have had a silver spoon growing up because he never learned how to be personable during stress, which was essential for management.
You can't handle the truth.
That's true.
To his last point, my dad agreed with his assumption of Nate. Honor society in high school/college, along with Dean's List too.
Dang.
His parents didn't require him to work when he worked in retail. He wanted to work because his friends were going to work there. As long as his grades were good, his parents paid for gas, bought him a car, never requested for him to work, and paid for college too. I paid for my own college and took semesters off because I couldn't always afford it with fluctuating hours. But when people asked how I didn't see this side of him, he was always nice when things were going well, and his bosses said so too. Giving him the award triggered something, and he wasn't mature enough to have a conversation about it. Nate would often surprise me with flowers/other gifts, and we'd watch movies/have fun. But when he became stressed with the award, his immaturity showed when he accused me of taking his manager's side and began to treat me differently. By the way, don't treat us differently by joining our live every weekday at 3 p.m. BST right here on YouTube and Facebook.
Just tap our profile.
There's another relevant update, but I don't know. How do we feel about this guy?
I mean, okay, one, very strange. I'll back to like Tia and I think Belton's point. Very strange that the boss is just divulging this whole whole
That
story.
feels a little whack.
It feels a little bit of a reach. I don't know. But also going into what he said, it does feel like maybe their life was just going really well. Like everything was really looking up for him. And then this one thing that just didn't quite go his way. He's like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And he like went off.
Yeah. No, I think a measure of a person's character is not how things are when things are good, but when things are bad.
It's true.
This is true.
This is the way.
But my dad said that everything at work had gone right for him leading up to the award, but that moment probably triggered something and showed he wasn't reliable when crap hit the fan because it was everyone else's fault. He also didn't blame me for not seeing it sooner because he was probably spoiled and protected by his parents at every turn. He also said that John didn't see it either after working with Nate for almost 5 years until getting triggered. I still blame myself for not seeing it sooner, but this was the first time I've seen him really bothered by something that wasn't even bad. The award was a good thing, but it is what it is. He made another post talking about a live stream he was going to do along with his shop steward, but I won't address it in this update because it's getting too long. We're working on the cease and desist letter, and this is the first step right now. I appreciate everyone who reached out. It's been a lot having to explain. Friends and family who saw me tagged in his original rant, but taking things one day at a time because what else can you do? And that's where that story ends.
Man, oh man.
Man really imploded his whole life.
Yeah, and now he's kind of, he probably doesn't have any money or a job, so he's becoming a streamer just to talk about his
And
drama that
he's
he
choosing
created.
the most boring stream
Yeah.
topic to start off.
Yeah, everyone's gonna be like, okay, that's it?
Yeah.
She's like, yes.
I'm doing it for the little man.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, pretty whack.
Chains.
Break your chains. But I feel like we might need to read one more short story to be on time. All right. My ex cheated on me with his new girlfriend. Now I'm flirting with him to make her jealous. Almost a year ago, I left my husband because he was cheating on me with his lover, who was a random woman I never met before. She never met me before either, but for some reason, she was always really jealous and insecure about me, even when she was the lover and I was the fool.
The lover and the fool. Classic pair.
By the way, this comes from Throwaway on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I don't understand why she would feel that way. And honestly, I would never be with a married man if I'm just going to compare myself to another woman all the time because it sounds really tiring, okay? Well, when I discovered the messages between them, she was the typical one who always needed to talk about me or asked him if he was going to leave me already, etc. I was never too. And apparently the husband was, and they had a BDSM relationship. She loved to remind him that I was too boring for him, that I had taken him for granted, and that he is an excellent man, and I didn't know what I had, etc.
I feel like if she has to, really stress this to the original wife or partner.
Yeah, why is she rubbing it in the face?
Yeah, it feels like
for the
she's
original
really
partner?
insecure.
Yeah, oh yeah, no. I mean, you don't.
It's like, you didn't know what you had, and I'm gonna take care of him now.
So I didn't take him for granted, by the way. I literally just don't like to be beaten, and I need to raise kids. But hey, I respect everyone. Oh
my God.
yikes.
Yikes.
Jeez. But he always told her that he was going to divorce me, but never did, and recently told me that he didn't think of divorcing me ever, but I was the one who divorced first. Good for you.
Yeah.
So that gave me a lot of satisfaction knowing that I won in that moment. I was bored, and honestly, to this day, she makes her jealousy for me too obvious. At the beginning, I ignored them during things like our kids' school meetings until she started doing things like pushing me by the shoulder, stepping on me, and other typical things that silly girls with the Regina George complex do. Simply people who are mentally still in high school.
Vintage. So adorable.
Mentally still is
Yes.
funny.
Well, yeah, she's trying to prove that she won him, but if she actually won him, then she wouldn't need to rub it in your face so much.
I tried to be the civil and the mature one, even though I was hurt at the start. I tried to be civil and mature, even if I read all those messages calling me boring, tasteless like a white rice. I even tried to get along with her. In the past, I was never the I'm not going to get angry type, but this time I decided to do it because everyone told me that I should just let them be. But again, I realized that no, I never gain anything good for being the good person in the story. I don't want to let them be happy, and karma doesn't exist. It never works to wait. I do think it leads to a more dramaless life if you don't
interact.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that, if someone keeps harassing you and stuff, the only thing is that they do have kids, so it seems like they're going to be somewhat intertwined.
Yeah.
But if you can
But you
block
don't need
her,
you don't need to be angry.
because she's looking for a reaction is
Yeah.
the thing. That's why she's harassing you, because she wants to prove that oh, you're the bad guy, and she wants to play the victim.
I've been a good person my entire marriage, and what did I gain? To be fooled for being a boring woman. So I started flirting with my ex because I just enjoy seeing her jealous and him frustrated every time I turn him down. I was also fed up with her behavior, pushing me or making inappropriate comments in front of my children. I had enough, and I know that I will have to continue to tolerate this as long as she continues with him. I don't care if it's a bad thing to do. I like it, and I find it funny. Maybe it's a sadistic instinct I have, but I can't help it. It's fun. I know they have started fighting more often since I started flirting with him. She's even started to come with him to take our children because she's afraid of leaving us alone. It's something he told me after I asked. She's forbidden him to name me. I'm not going to sleep with him.
Speak her name in my presence.
Yes,
She who shall not be named.
I am not going to sleep with him ever, and it gives me satisfaction to hear his frustrated audios when I tell him I am not going to sleep with a taken man, and he tells me that if I ask him, he will leave her, but I just tell him that I need time. He always says that she was a mistake and even stopped posting pictures with her and deleted the others he had before with her. I know they fight a lot now, and he insists that we should get back together, but I just tell him to stay with her because she's the one for him, and he only says that she doesn't understand him.
Wait, I feel like I logged out for a second. She was like, yeah, I'm going to fight back. And then just started
Full on flirting with him.
What? This is not, I don't know if I recommend this.
She's trying to get her revenge.
I
She's
guess
getting that
you're
petty
doing
revenge.
it.
I wouldn't recommend this either, but it is funny.
It is funny.
It is funny.
It is a good story.
I've asked him to wait for me until I feel ready, and he talks to me every day in a more romantic way like he did when he first met, but it's obviously not the same anymore. I just find him stupid. I don't even spend much energy on this. It's just a few messages a day. I even realize that he's more attracted to me when I'm really dry with him, and for some reason he becomes more begging towards me when I don't answer. But it was your husband who cheated on you, not her. I hate my ex, but even so, I think I have every right to not like the woman who criticized my physique without knowing me and likes to be nasty to me, right? Maybe I'm a bad feminist, but I don't support mean women. And I don't support cheaters either. So I'm not going to keep doing this because I like to know he thinks I'm going to welcome him with open arms when I'm not going to do that at all. I want their relationship to fail, and I don't feel bad about wanting that. In the meantime, I enjoy my singleness with my friends. I don't plan to go back to him ever. I just want to F up the relationship of both of them like they effed up my marriage. By the way, if you don't want to get effed up, you should join our live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on Facebook and YouTube. Just tap our profile.
Tap it.
Please save yourselves empty advices like you should be the bigger person. Revenge is bad. Let it go. Let the past be the past because I don't care. I know what I'm doing. Also, I don't understand why I should take the advice of total internet strangers, to be honest. None of this keeps me up at night. I think people should learn to enjoy a little bit of the evil we all have inside and come down from that moral pedestal where they find themselves. I was on the moral pedestal for years thinking I needed to be a good person, and I didn't gain anything in return by doing that. I can't think of putting so much energy into that. That's another quote. I'm sorry, but how much energy does a person spend writing 3 texts a day? I find it funny that people find it tiring moving their fingers on a screen. And that's where it ends.
I mean, do what you want, OP. If this is giving you joy, this
If it
is sparking
sparks
joy
joy
for you, sure. I'm going to give advice to someone else who maybe is in the same situation, who's not you, of course. I think that doing something like this kind of suggests that you are not over what happened and you are continuing to put yourself in a situation where you are still involved in this relationship in some way or some manner. So I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's necessary. I mean, it's not the healthiest thing to do.
Yeah.
But you're having fun, so.
Yeah, I don't know about this. I don't know about this, but I'm glad maybe you're finding a way to cope with this.
Yeah.
And that's where that story ends.
I refuse to pick up my fiance's kid because I feel excluded.
The children are suffering me because you won't invite me to jump on your trampoline.
I, 26 female Jessica,
Suffering from children.
have been engaged to my fiance, 26 male John, for 3 years. I have always been very involved in my stepson's 9 life since meeting him. This includes school pickup and drop off due to my fiance working longer hours than I do. This has been a routine for at least the last 2 years, as well as the arguments that ensue with his mother, 25 female Ellie, and her partner, 26 female Whitney. By the way, this comes from Destiny Y, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, the reasoning for arguments with her always were initiated by the most insignificant of things, but always well-timed to create a diversion. For example, having a full-blown meltdown that his father and I haven't gotten him a winter coat. It's 55 degrees out. Anyway, to get to know how I'm the a-hole, today John came in to tell me about how he got a text from Whitney stating that the kiddo tested positive for COVID. He asked me if I could work from home tomorrow to watch him. I told him that I couldn't because I had several appointments already scheduled that are time sensitive. He told me that was fine. Before walking away, I asked John if he could respond to the message via Ellie rather than reply back to Whitney. I asked him this because I have been blocked by Ellie for over a month. She refuses to speak to me over a Facebook post that I shared. However, Ellie is not the parent at the home that communicates with either of us. In the last month, Whitney, who's essentially a stepmom just like I am, has been to my home to ground the kiddo from games due to his grades and behavior without giving John or I any notice. So yes, maybe petty, but I digress. Later in the evening, I asked John if he actually sent the text to Ellie, to which he responded, "No, I just don't really want to deal with that tonight." which I do see is fair. They're unbearable. But then I asked him why he lied to me and couldn't just talk to me about it, being that this is the second time he has lied to me to avoid the conversation of how I feel about all of this. I've explained to him that I feel isolated and that they're all excluding me out of a lot of things with my stepson. But I'm expected to do all of the drop-off, pick-up, homework, help, and sports practice, homework and sports because I was a college athlete and took elementary education, so it's more natural. John still said he didn't want to talk about it, but before bed, the conversation came back up again. This time, he said that he will just stop talking to me about when Ellie or Whitney reach out to him because he doesn't want to talk about it. Being that I've expressed to him that I feel isolated, that definitely started the waterworks. But I explained that I feel like he's making me feel worse by ensuring that I'm not being talked to, unless it's an emergency, because then I really feel like I'm just being used. John said if I felt like that, then he would get a babysitter and someone for pickup and drop off, to which I responded, go ahead. That is super not what OP's asking at all. It seems like that's like OP's like, this is really hurting me. And he's like, fine. You don't even have to do that then.
Like, fine, I'll exclude you more.
John says that I'm the a-hole and I feel like he's ganging up on me with Ellie and Whitney. So am I the a-hole? And there is an update. I don't think so. I think that you absolutely, it seems like you are being excluded from things. And also your husband is not even listening to you. Thank you all for the feedback and suggestions. I received a lot of questions asking why I'm with John, which is reasonable, but y'all don't have the full story on us and that's okay. Anyway, the clarification on the Facebook post. Thank you. The post said, be kind and mature when dealing with unintelligent people.
Okay.
About 3 days after sharing that, my stepson came over and said that his mom was so mad at me and that she was annoyed with me.
It's crazy to see someone's post being like, hey, like basically just like, don't get angry at people that you don't agree with.
I told him that I hadn't talked to his mom, but I'd call her because I'm not mad at her. Well, Ellie and Whitney both had me blocked when I called. That's ridiculous.
Damn.
After talking to the kid for a little, he said Ellie and Whitney were very upset about the post and complaining to him for days. That's ridiculous.
Were they though?
The following day was also a day that I had to pick him up from school, but he wasn't on the bus. Ellie had picked him up and took him home. However, I had no idea because I was blocked and I had no way to get a hold of Ellie, Whitney, or my stepson. I had to call my fiance, to call Ellie, to call Whitney, to call his grandmother to see where he was. Whitney dropped him off with his grandmother. That's incredibly dangerous. That absence resulted in several missing assignments for the kiddo. He came back the next day, John and I's weekend, with 6 extra pages of homework from not going to school the day before. And that is how we got to Whitney visiting our home unannounced to lecture him about school and behavior. Details. For context, I wanted to get on and say that I understand that it seems like I'm being used. My issue is not picking up or dropping my stepson off. I love kids, and my involvement was discussed at the beginning. My issue is that I have told John that them doing this and him allowing them to leave me out of things when I do a lot of work for all 3 of them leaves me feeling isolated.
Fair. Super fair.
Yeah. I also expressed that it was frustrating to have been a teacher and a counselor, and I'm being left out of things that I may be able to help with.
Dang.
After talking with him last night, here's his side. He said that he's been dealing with Ellie for 9 years. She's manipulative, lazy, a compulsive liar, and all around a difficult person. All very true. He says that if he says anything to her, that it will just result in her calling, screaming until she has it all out, and then will block John as well, at least until it's our day with the kiddo. He says that it is pointless to talk to Ellie or Whitney because they are both so rational and will block all communication. John says that I am putting unnecessary stress on him because I should see by now that Ellie is never going to change. More context, Ellie and Whitney have had a few DV calls to their home with my stepson there. Why can't we get custody?
It's time to go to the courts and record
custody?
some of these conversations
What's going
of her
on?
blowing up at you and blocking you. And then you go, hey, I can't have access to my son. I can't communicate.
It's really
Make
dangerous.
changes.
She also has always been unemployed and she has no structure for her child in the home. He's sleeping on the couch at Ellie's because he says that the animals have trashed his room, which is also a thing that you can get custody for. They're supposed to have a proper living space for their child.
Yeah, I wonder if this is a temp check to be like, should we fight for custody?
Absolutely.
Or not?
Although she may not change, I don't think that is a reason to avoid conversation about how I feel as a stepmother and partner. However, John says that it's better to just let her do whatever she wants and try her best to ignore it. And hopefully the kid will see when he's older who was there for him. What?
They're just like, I know people who are reluctant to get CPS involved in situations where it's not
Sure.
like explicitly, because sometimes, and then it's
But I would think
Who
after the
knows?
DV calls, I'd be like, custody.
yeah, for sure.
I'll be like, oh, my kid's not safe. Update 2. First, I want to say thank you all for the insight. Some of you have definitely opened my eyes to things I didn't see. However, I also know that this is the internet and you have a sliver of 3 years to base your opinion off. Although appreciated, some are pretty harsh. I'll start with clarifications. First, I want to make it clear that Whitney is not biomom. She is the partner of biomom Ellie. I also want to point out that Ellie does not communicate with any of us, really. She misses school calls, confirmations of doctor appointments, and endless other things that she doesn't think requires her attention. I think this makes it a little more bothersome for me because neither Whitney or Ellie can talk to me. But John has no other choice but to communicate with Whitney because Ellie simply won't. Second, Child Protective Services have been called. The police have been called and nothing has been done regarding their custody agreement. To add to this, John knows that our home is a better home for him and wants to go to court. However, we are not rich, either of us, by any means. And we are currently in the process of trying to buy a home. John's plans right now, at least he says, buy a home and then go to court for joint custody. At this time, full custody doesn't seem feasible considering reports made to Child Services have no real resolution. Now to the update, which isn't much, but I feel like the clarification was necessary. John called this morning. He said that he didn't like that I was upset about all this and didn't know what to do. He said that he feels as if there is nothing to talk about. He says that we get him far more often than he is scheduled to ensure his safety, so that makes him feel better. He says that the feelings I, Jessica, have are just to begin an argument, which I don't think is the case, but I guess I can see somehow that makes sense to him. He agreed to talk about things when he comes home from work today, so I guess I will be updating following our talk. Thank you all again for your thoughts and perspectives. And there is a third update.
I like what direction we're heading in.
Yeah, you're having a conversation.
I like it.
But there is a third update, so let's get into it. Thanks so much for all the sport suggestions and perspectives. This helped John and I have a really great conversation. Here is the update. John came home from work and we got right into it. He apologized for stating that he was going to get a babysitter. John has a lot of previous trauma from other relationships and said that he notices now that he was defensive before even really hearing what I had to say. John and I agreed that it's best to not bring up anything at this time, as stepson is at Ellie and Whitney's tonight, and they tend to say that we will not see him and block us. I don't want to go through that either because I have plans with him tomorrow.
Like, is that in and of itself not enough to do something?
That's what I'm saying. Like, is
with
that
the
not illegal?
Like,
could you not be like they're trying to like kidnap?
like, I don't even know if you
Child?
need a lawyer for that. That's like so like, hey, like I have some problems with like we need to have a discussion about what we're doing with our child. Blocked. You'll never see him again.
That's like kidnapping.
It's like, I think you might be able to win over some hearts and minds with that.
John said on Wednesday, following pickup, he will call Ellie, which she probably will not answer, and ask to speak with her and Whitney about our communication. He agreed to bring up a parenting app. Thanks to you all, I really had no idea they existed. John said that he finds it ridiculous that they act this way, and also apologized for making me feel isolated so that he could feel better by avoiding it. He said that it is easier for him because Ellie and Whitney are so difficult. John and I also discussed how discussions with he and Ellie went in the past and explained why he feels the way he feels. Context. John took Ellie to court at 17 because she blocked him on everything and refused to answer the door when he would come to see his son. He missed out on the first few months of his son's life waiting to go to court so that he could have rights to his son. How is that legal? How did they not?
I wonder where they are. This doesn't sound like the States.
John is afraid that she will take him, block him on everything, and we will have to wait for the court date to see him again, as CPS and law enforcement have done nothing but document for the past 2 years.
But if you have 2 years of documentation of her acting this way, like
does
is
that not help at all?
How does she have primary custody?
However, John is getting information together for joint custody at minimum, but possibly more. Maybe. Maybe they have primary custody.
There was a little tidbit in there about how he was like, oh, well, we already get to see him more than we normally do, so I don't want to like. So I think he doesn't even have primary custody. It's just the wife is like, or the ex-wife is just like, I don't even care, whatever. You can have him for a whole 2 weeks. I don't care.
This year, the kiddo stayed at our house 74 more days than he was scheduled to, so hopefully that helps us in the long run of things. Again, not knowing how Reddit really works, I'm going to add this to my original post. And edit, I'm seeing a lot about this post being very John-based. It's supposed to be. This is the other side of the conversation. People were so invested when it was jump on John, but now they have his idea of things. It's too much. This edit was just to round out the conversation and make things less one-sided and give the full scope of the situation. And clarification, totally my bad for not putting the resolution to our conversation in the update. All in all, John said I won't feel that way again. We agreed to talk about our feelings during and after interactions with Ellie and Whitney as a check-in for John and I. John has also agreed to at least make an effort to communicate to them during times that I do feel uneasy, uncomfortable, whatever. My issue is not how he addresses things. It's that he avoids them. Naturally, I don't really care if there is confrontation or not. I'm just not bothered by it. However, John is very non-confrontational, so we discussed how he will make an effort. Maybe not in the way that I would, but it's an effort. And in our situation, we can't focus on the reciprocation of what he says because Whitney and Ellie are lunatics. And I think final update. Hello for everyone invested. This is a general update because, as expected, we hit a bump. I picked the kid up. After I picked him up, I let his dad know that I had him because he is still at work. He called Ellie, no answer. As I'm pulling out of the parking lot, Whitney drives by and my stepson sees her. He asked me to call her. Great timing. I was blocked. That just doesn't make sense to me, to block a person who is taking care of your child. Doesn't make sense.
Well, you're not Whitney.
Yeah.
You'll never be Whitney.
But you know what does make sense? Listening to full episodes with stories just like this, just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. I called John to let him know that I couldn't get a hold of Whitney. He called Whitney and Ellie with no answer. He called Ellie's mom to see if she had talked to Ellie or Whitney, and she said that she would text them to see. 2 minutes later, my phone is ringing. It's John. He said that Whitney called him saying that he crossed a boundary by calling Ellie's mom. Whitney said that she no longer lives in the home, so she no longer needs to be contacted at all. They told John that if he agreed to that, then she and Ellie would agree to unblock me. John's home now and has called them each several times to try and talk to them or have some sort of conversation. We are at a standstill. And that is the end of that story.
My fiance's toxic family keeps gaslighting us. I want her to go low contact with them.
It's gaslamping.
Ooh, it's gassy. Me, male 24, and my soon-to-be fiance, female 23, have been dating for around 5 years. Ooh. She is smart, beautiful, and the light of my life, and I love her to death. Like any healthy and happy couple, we have had our fair share of joke arguments here and there, maybe minor serious argument once every blue moon. However, when it comes to her parents, they are a complete nightmare to deal with, and it is reaching a breaking point between us. By the way, this comes from Decaying Oblivion on the r/OK Storytime
That's
subreddit.
A hard name.
Right? Especially with all the numbers.
Yeah.
So, some background. We met in college and I got to meet her folks after our second date, who seemed normal enough. She was adopted by her grandparents for reasons that don't need to be disclosed here, other than the fact their daughter and her husband were very abusive towards her, and she needed therapy all throughout childhood because of the abuse. Now, it seems because of her grandparents, we'll refer to them as parents for simplicity here on out, she wants to go back to therapy, and I support her 100%. Trouble started showing during the pandemic. My fiance works in the medical field and has a good head on her shoulders, so she kept up with developing news about it. Her parents, however, are Trump nuts. No other way to put it. They think he was and still is the smartest and greatest man to ever live, and anyone who disagrees is just a hater or not a real Christian.
Oh my God.
Shout out Jesus. Personally, I couldn't give two crapadoodle doos about anyone's opinion on the pandemic or politics. However, the first major red flag was Election Day 2020. Here we go, political. I was watching the news in the living room with her mother, and a couple of minorities, sorry if this is improper, come on the TV to give their opinion, while her mother proudly proclaimed that those people shouldn't even be allowed to vote. Taken aback, I asked what she meant by that. A very reasonable question. Seeing that they were Trump nuts and people on the TV were talking about voting Democrat, Democrat. I thought she meant the political affiliations. But no, she meant because they weren't white. To this day, they constantly say those people when referring to any minority who is anything but pure white.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
Then about a year or so into the relationship, my fiance started opening up more as she has trust issues because of her parents, like how they removed her bedroom door just before she became a teenager to force her to break up with her first serious boyfriend, getting out in an abusive relationship just because they had spicy sleep. And although it wasn't mentioned, me and my fiance both agree it was probably more so forced because it was a black man. Or racism. Here we go.
God.
Then she told me about how her mother comments about her weight and constantly makes her feel bad about herself and her body. Now, I do not want to mention here before going any further that her mother is dying. I feel for my fiance and I want to be there to support her in any way possible, especially for when her mother passes. However, everything becomes a competition with her. Have a broken leg? Well, didn't you know I'm dying? That's so much worse. She likes to control the room and talk over anyone and everyone to the point where no one can get a word in edgewise. Essentially, talking to her is just listening to her having a conversation about herself, and I feel as though this just fed into my fiance never feeling heard by her parents. Her mother loves telling long stories, most of which she tells over and over again, which normally wouldn't be an issue. When my fiance tries to tell her she's heard the story before, her mother will flip her lid. She will scream at her, demanding she gets to finish her story, and will often do it over the phone. This will make my fiance very upset and often spend long periods of time on the phone with her, which she doesn't seem to like to do. Her mother is less so the problem. In fact, I would say that she should stay close to her mother, despite everything I previously stated, if her father is cut off. Her father, however, might be one of the worst people I have ever had the displeasure of interacting with. If OP is saying this racist mother is like, oh no, oh, she's okay, but the father-in-law, or the father is worse.
I don't even want to.
Black hole.
I think this is like black hole territory, and I think we're about to find out. Again, much like her mother, red flags didn't appear until a year into dating, but her father was so much worse than I could have ever feared. He would guilt trip, gaslight, use anything to his advantage to get his way. Her mother always defends his manipulative actions, to which my fiance has just learned to put up with it. Because of this, he has always kept me on edge, and I always got a bad vibe from him and always felt like he never liked me. I come from a fairly well-off family, and because of that, I feel like he resents me for it. My breaking point was when I was still in college. At the time, I was in the social studies education program, on track to become a teacher. One time when we were visiting, making a pit stop at their house before driving to my parents for Thanksgiving, he waits until my fiance is out of the room and he makes a joke. Hey, if you're becoming a teacher, make sure you don't become trans, then try to do crazy stuff to the kids into thinking they're gay.
Oh man, this is too far.
Now, as a person who is bisexual, this completely threw me off. I didn't even know what to say or if I should even tell my fiance what happened out of fear that she wouldn't believe me. I waited a whole week after the incident to tell her what had happened and that I was done speaking to him or ever being alone with him in a room again. She believed me immediately, but just responded with, that's just how he is.
It can explain behavior. It does not excuse it.
From that point on, I had no idea how to even speak to them at that point and refused to even go with her to visit them. They demanded she dog sit for them while they were out of town to get her mother treatment, despite her being extremely busy with college. But since they loved to guilt trip, she often gave it. This continued until I graduated college and my fiance had a year left, so I helped her move into her new apartment with her father. I stayed civil, and so did he. My fiance even said he wanted to apologize about the joke, okay, which of course he didn't, okay. Nice. And when I brought it up with her, she just said that he told her that he did apologize. He just straight up lied. Maybe I was out of earshot, but an actual apology, I believe you would want to at least have the person's full attention. His apology was, oh yes, sorry. Oh my bad. Then last November, she got an exciting opportunity to interview at the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota, to which she got the job after graduation. We were extremely excited. My parents were so proud of her and helped us in every way they could with the move and constantly told her how impressive the accomplishment was. At least she has supportive the in-laws become the second parents. Always love when we have that, at least, in these stories. Her parents were not very happy. Before stating this, I want to let you know that this is my personal opinion here. Her parents always seemed like they wanted her to stay home and take care of her mother. They always said college was a waste of time and turned people away from God and made them liberals. Seeing that she worked as a certified nursing assistant in high school, she had some experience working with the sick and elderly. Every time she went home, they would just make her run errands while they were both sat at home and did nothing. At her own graduation party, my mother expressed her happiness that my fiance got this job opportunity and we were moving. The dad just grunted and said, "We'll see how long it lasts."
Whoa, come on, man.
I should state her mother expressed happiness as well for the opportunity for her speech at said party while her father looked miserable. So I think this is where OP's like, the father is the real, like the blackest, darkest hole, like the most
100%.
evil.
Golly.
So the day of the move came and both families were helping us pack to move across the country. However, inside her parents' house to use the bathroom, her father pulled me aside and said to me, "You better keep a tighter leash than the one you have on her now." I am not a violent person, but I swear I was close to breaking his nose. I cannot even begin to understand what kind of person can talk about their daughter in such a way. That's when this thought of limiting contact really began to fester. I also want to preface a few more things quickly. Both of their biological children want nothing to do with them. They don't talk to them only because I can imagine her parents treated them the same way they treat my fiance. They are religious to a ridiculous degree where they think all science is fake, and even once said that if my fiance needed a new heart at birth to live, they would have let her die.
Who
Wow.
are these people?
Yep. The church they go to is a cult where the pastor makes political remarks constantly. When we moved out here, they told my fiance they hope she failed and we break up because we were spitting in God's face by moving in together and not being married.
Oh my goodness.
Of course. Both of my parents are religious and both have no issues with them. They're also Republican, but free enough thinkers that they don't blindly vote on election day. They have been nothing but supportive of me and my fiance, who they adore. They are aware of the situation and try to reach out to my fiance to support her whenever they can. My mother has been a rock for her, and I am thankful they are understanding through this whole situation. Now, we're about to get into the present scenario.
Oh, we're not even there?
We're not even done
We were in
yet.
the past.
Guys,
What
we were in
the
the past.
heck?
We have not even begun. Present. Now we are living in Minnesota, states away from them, and they constantly call my fiance and text her for things that they could probably Google, like where to find dog toys or silly things like that. I can only assume because they don't want to lose another kid who is still willing to talk to them. Her father will make snide remarks on the phone or through text such as, "We still love you. We haven't taken you off the will yet."
Oh my God. This is exhausting.
Dude. Or, "I guess you don't love us enough to even care to call." Despite her starting her new job and being very busy the first few months after the move, they were doing all this crap, right? My parents, other family, friends, and myself are very concerned about her mental health when it comes to her parents. She is stressed at work, and her parents certainly can't be helping that. A few weeks ago, she flew home for a bridal shower, of which she is the maid of honor. Well, her parents made that weekend heck on earth, and it became her breaking point. They brought up politics in the middle of a restaurant dinner with my fiance, and she said her opinion on terminating pregnancies. Her mother started wailing and crying and making a scene in the restaurant. Anytime she was home, they got into a screaming match because they didn't like that she was forming her own opinions. Her father walked out. Her mother started crying, claiming that she wanted to self-harm and was mentally unwell and seeing a therapist, to which me and my fiance both thought was a lie until we realized the only person who goes into their house is their pastor, the very same who wished my fiance failed at her dream job. So they considered him a therapist. They're like trying to like learn her lingo so that way they can like, "Oh, a therapist, all these kids love therapy. We'll say we have the therapist." Meanwhile, it's the pastor that's like,
Feeding them all this trash.
yeah, "Don't go to college. It's for sinners."
Yo, go to HE double hockey sticks.
HE double hockey sticks.
Basically going there. Oh my god.
The HE double hockey sticks sent me.
Golly.
Oh my god. Her father almost never leaves the house unless it's getting groceries because of all the time spent taking care of her mother. Every time she called me, she sounded miserable. She told her best friend who's getting married at her bridal shower that she didn't even want to go home and see them. To top it all off, my fiance had multiple mental breakdowns in that single weekend. Now, after that weekend, I started bringing up the possibility of lessening the amount of contact she has with them. I know I'm not a perfect person, and I like to think of myself as someone reasonable. I want her to have a good relationship with her parents, but after everything they've done and Every time she goes home, she has a new story to tell me about what they've done, what they've said or done. Oh, to her, I see that as less and less of a possibility. At first, I said, maybe don't talk to them for a week, and if you feel better or they don't improve, make it a month or a year. I understand since her mother is passing away, she doesn't want to completely cut them off and regret not speaking to her before she passes away. I would never be able to forgive myself if that were to happen, and she would understandably hate me for it. It has also gotten to the point where even my own mother thinks it's for the best, and being raised as an Italian Catholic, nothing is more important than family. Before flying out for the actual wedding and the bridal shower, the bridal shower was for, I lost sleep and started losing hair from the amount of stress of having to see her parents again. Honestly,
Dude.
Can't blame you.
God.
Can't blame you. I know she was just as worried, and I did everything I could to support her. I had no idea what they would do or say or possibly ruin what should be a celebratory weekend with her and her best friend getting married. If you don't want to run away from the altar of this wedding here, I'm dressed like a groom right now. Guys, you just tap the profile on any weekday, just pick one at 3 p.m. PST, and then you join the live, and then you're here, and it's fun, and we talk to you, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Darlene, mother, is faking sickness because it's their last kid that they have in contact.
Darlene in the chat.
And they're like, what we have to manipulate. They already know they're losing a hold on her.
Yep.
She's getting married. How can we
she's
make
moving
sure that
away.
she's saying
She's getting a job. She's becoming successful. She's removing toxicity from her life. We need to dump toxic sludge back into her life.
Yep. These people are horrible on every single thing that you could be good at.
That's correct. I love my fiance. She's the most amazing person in the world, and I'm so proud of her for getting her dream job at one of the world's best hospitals. I don't know what I can do to help anymore. I want to help her, and I'm hoping other people here have gone through something similar, can give some advice, words of encouragement, or something to help her. If you read all of that insanity, thank you. Edit, I forgot to mention they still want her to move back home and are still saying moving out was a mistake, which only frustrates her more as she is a lot more happy being away from them. That is it.
There's your answer.
I still stand by what we deduced here.
They just want to control. They want to control.
They want to control. They want to
brainwash
her life.
Like, what the heck? She dream job at the best hospital in the nation, perhaps. This is insane.
Yeah.
No, you got to
leave and start your life together.
Gotta let him go.
Yeah.
Let him go.
That's it.
My best friend set me up for failure at a job she referred me to because of her double life.
Is she a spy?
Is she Hannah Montana?
Is she getting the best of both worlds?
Pop it, lock it, polka dot it, country, something, hip hop it. Background. Our parents have known each other since before we were born. My parents moved across the street from her parents. Her mom baked my mom and dad a cake, and they've been friends ever since. They even got pregnant around the same time and gave birth a few months apart. By the way, this comes from user Throwaway Stabbed in the Back. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, Tori and I literally grew up together and have always been close. We were inseparable as kids and have always called each other sisters. Freshman year of high school, her dad got a job opportunity and they ended up moving to California. We were in Ohio at the time, so it was kind of hard to maintain a long-distance friendship because of the time difference and everything that was going on in our lives. But we still remained close, alternating visiting each other during our summer breaks. We applied and got into the same college after high school, so we were finally reunited at college as we dormed together. That's so cool. Things were perfect.
Until they weren't.
Present day, we are both married to our husbands. We live in the same small town. Our husbands are also best friends, but due to the vid, I was laid off from my telemarketing job. It was fine at first because my husband was able to pick up a few extra shifts and maintain our household, but his overtime started getting cut, so now we were only living off of one income and have had to use our savings to pay a few bills. As of recently, I've been looking for a new job, and it's been hard because no one has been hiring. Tori and I get together once every week for drinks. I mentioned to her that I was having a hard time job searching, and she suggested that I apply at her job, and that she would put in a good word for me and I would be hired. We talked about how fun it would be to work together. Tori is in a similar field as I was, not exactly the same, but she said that I'd have no problem getting in and that they would train me for whatever I didn't know. Later that week, I applied and was called a few days later for a phone interview. We went over my application and she asked how I was referred to the job. I mentioned Tori and she genuinely sounded excited and bragged about what a great employee Tori is and how if she was referring me, I'd probably be a perfect fit. We finished up the phone interview, and she said that she would ask Tori a few follow-up questions, but that the job was pretty much mine and to be expecting a call back by a certain day. I texted Tori telling her how things went and thanking her immensely. However, the day came that I was supposed to hear something back, and I haven't heard anything. At Tori and I's get-together, I asked her if her boss ever asked her about me, and Tori said no, and that she would let me know if she did. 2 more weeks pass, and still no word. I asked Tori again, and all she said was that they decided to hire someone else because they had more experience, so I dropped it after that. A month later, and I'm finally back working, and my husband and I are getting back on our feet. I suggested that we invite Tori and her husband over for dinner, and my husband immediately said no.
What does your husband know, and how long has he known it? And why didn't he tell you?
Why's your husband tapped in? Oh, maybe Tori's husband.
Yeah, maybe Tori's husband was like, oh, your wife didn't get the job because Tori doesn't like her.
Let's further our investigation here. I've noticed that my husband and her husband haven't been talking. I asked him about it, and he brushed it off. I asked Tori about it at our get-together, and she brushed it off as well. However, I knew that was odd, as they talked almost daily and got together weekly for drinks and poker with a few other friends, and that hasn't been happening either. I decided to press the issue more with my husband, and he finally broke down and said that the reason why him and Matt weren't speaking was because of Tori. He explained that the job Tori said she would speak up for me to get, she actually did the opposite. So you were right on the money.
Why would you tell your friend hey, there's this job that I'm working at. You would be great. You should totally apply. And then
maybe it was just acute lockdown psychosis or something. Yeah. But maybe she's just a snake in the grass. I asked what he meant by that, and he explained that her boss did ask Tori about me, and she said a few things to deter her from hiring me. I asked why he kept this from me for so long, and he said it was better that I didn't know because he didn't want to ruin our friendship.
What? That's really silly.
Why would you want to be friends with someone who betrays you like that?
You should have told her.
Especially when it's it's actually a time of need. It's not like they're oh, I'm looking for a new job. It's I need a job.
Yeah, this was during a time when not a lot of people were able to get jobs, and Tori said, I can get you a job, and then backstabbed her.
The interviewer was oh yeah, it's pretty much yours. And then Tori literally tore her down.
Messed up that the husband didn't tell OP.
Matt already told him what Tori did, and he told Matt to tell Tori to do the right thing. They got into an argument, and that's why they weren't speaking. I called Tori, and she admitted that my husband was telling the truth and said the reason why she didn't vouch for me was because she didn't want things to change between us. Because at work, she was a completely different person, whatever that meant. So after thinking about asking me to apply, she decided to change her mind, but couldn't bring herself to tell me that. I was absolutely disgusted.
That's such a silly reason.
When I go to work, I turn into a beast. I can't control the beast inside.
You couldn't handle me at work, man.
Get over yourself.
That's so lame.
So, she knew how much my husband and I were struggling and decided to sabotage my chance at getting a job for no real reason. I hung up and blocked your number. It's been nearly a month and we haven't talked yet. However, my husband and her husband are back on speaking terms, and my husband wants me to make up with Tori and let it go so that things can go back to how they were. However, I'm not sure if they can. I feel like I've been stabbed in the back.
I feel like also your husband kind of stabbed you in the back by not telling her.
The context of this is they've been friends like that for years and years and years.
And she pulls this kind of stunt.
I can get it from a place of I kind of want to protect her from the negativity. We're already struggling. I don't want her to now have to fight with her best friend while we're all struggling. So it makes sense that once they got back on their feet is when he was hey, so this is what really happened.
I feel like he would have never told her unless he was oh, don't invite her over, which is so weird. He only told her because he was don't invite her over, and she was why? And he was no, I can't tell you. She was dude, tell me why. And then she pushed and pushed, and then he finally told her.
I kind of understand where he was coming from in a way, though. It's kind of just not piling it on when you're already stressed out. You know what I mean? But still, it's you should have been proactively telling her instead of just oh, dinner, don't invite her over. Do I have a right to feel how I feel? Or is it time to move on and let bygones be bygones? I think you can do both of those. I admit that I do miss her, but I feel like I can't trust her anymore. Had she told me the truth from the beginning, I would have been okay, but she lied to my face on multiple occasions. There are some comments. Sophia, take it away.
One, you kind of said, oh, maybe you can move on from this, but you absolutely have a right to how you're feeling because she never really apologized. She explained why she did it, but she never apologized for doing it, and it doesn't seem like she thinks that she did anything wrong.
Where it was like, yeah, I was saving you from working with me because I'm such a monster at work. I feel like depending on how valuable this relationship is to you, like there is a way through this. However, it's like you have to have the conversation. She has to apologize. And like, yeah, right now the trust is not there because you were kind of stabbed in the back. But over time, that can build back up. But like right now, you need to be like, just be honest with where you're at. You're like, I kind of lost my trust with you. And I feel like that's going to have to be built back up. I was in need and you kind of made a selfish decision to exclude me from really like gaining financial security in a moment where I really needed it.
I feel like she needs to go back to the boss if OP doesn't have a job still and say like, hey, she's actually pretty great.
Comment number 1. Boy, oh boy, was that a read and a half. First of all, F Tori. She effed up. You have every right to feel betrayed and to be mad for about 4 to 6 months. She broke your trust. In my country, trust is fundamental to a friendship. Do you think you can trust her again after this? And there's a reply, or at the bare minimum, talk to OP about it like you've been friends forever. I have a best friend for 10 years and I'd have zero issues telling her that. Seems like a pretty shallow friendship. Another comment says, also, OP didn't mention anywhere that Tori apologized or showed any remorse for her actions. Just admitted to what she did. How can you forgive or let bygones be bygones when she doesn't even bother to patch up or apologize? By the way, OP also already stated that she can't trust her anymore in response to your comment. OP, good luck, and I hope your situation gets better. There is an update. I mean, like, I agree with all that. I'm not saying to move forward and just like forget everything she did.
I think it is possible to repair it. I just think it is going to rely super heavily on Tori's mindset.
But it's going to take OP initiating the confrontation and the repair and at first to be like, here's where I'm at. You have to let her know where you're at. I feel betrayed. I feel like I can't trust you. How do we fix this? And if she goes like, that's your problem, then you can just back off and it is what it is. All right, let's continue. Thank you all for your comments and advice. I'm glad to know I wasn't overthinking the situation. I called Tori yesterday and gave her the opportunity to meet up, apologize, and explain more in depth. She accepted my offer, and we had lunch at a nearby restaurant today. Some of you guessed that the reason she didn't want me at her job was because she could have been hiding something. Oh my God, wait. That is true. I didn't even think about that. That's such a BS excuse. Like, you wouldn't like me when I'm at work. It's like, what? Who are you? What are you talking about? Is she hiding a secret family, secret affair partner?
That only visits her at work?
Maybe it's like work husband.
She's got an all-American rejects dirty little secret.
Some of you were thinking she might be hiding something. That was correct. She told me that she was indeed having an affair with a coworker.
She just told you? Oh my God, this just got juicy. So she goes to her husband. She says, I don't want OP to work at my job because she won't like me where I work. And he doesn't question it? Because everyone else knew but OP that Tori kind of like axed her, chance of getting this job. So why did no one else question it except for OP?
There's more mystery afoot here. So in response to her saying that she had an affair, OP says, I didn't buy it at all. It just didn't make sense because if that was the case, why would she tell her husband that she sabotaged me rather than just keep that to herself?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I freaking said. What a weird lie to tell OP. OP was like, no, I don't believe that. And Tori's like, perfect. I told her the truth in a way that makes it seem like it's a lie. So she won't tell my husband.
Turns out that my husband was pressuring him for answers as well, and her husband kept reminding her to ask her boss why I didn't get the job. That's when she told him what she did. She also gave him a completely different explanation of why she didn't want me working there. She showed me months of steamy texts and spicy messages between her and her coworker, so I knew that she was telling the truth. I asked her why she didn't just tell me. She said that she was scared that people at her job would ask me questions and it would come out that she's married.
They didn't know she was married? Her husband's never been to her job? This is crazy. Wild.
The guy at her job that she's been seeing doesn't even know and thinks they are in an exclusive relationship. No!
No, she's double cheating.
And it is absurd and crazy, and it will always turn into an explosion. Oh my God.
So she is cheating, but she told her husband about why she didn't want OP there. She's really bad at keeping secrets.
I can't believe that she would admit to the affair.
One, admit to the affair to OP. Also tell her husband that she sabotaged OP.
It just seems all like such a giant, massive miscalculation. She said that if I found out about the affair, she was afraid that I'd tell my husband. Since our husbands are best friends, he would tell hers. So she gets together with her coworker for a few hours after work and on weekends. Apparently, she doesn't even work weekends. Her husband thinks that she's at work all that time. She said that having me work there would ruin things as our schedules wouldn't add up, and it would get back to her husband, and he would question her about why. I asked her why would she have me apply and say that she would get me in, knowing she had no intentions of having me work with her. She said that she didn't think that I'd really take her up on her offer, as I've made comments before about her work sounding boring, and that she was really hoping that if she dragged it out long enough, I'd get tired of waiting and look elsewhere. The million-dollar question that I asked her was this: what did you say to your boss to change her mind about offering me the job? She said she told her boss that having me work there would honestly probably just be a distraction, and she wouldn't be able to perform her best, and that I was known to be lazy and a slacker. Dude, come on.
But are you a cheater, though?
That's definitely not true. The laziness and the slacking. She did offer her sincere apology and said that she felt terrible knowing what all John and I was going through, and she didn't help. But I just can't see myself forgiving her or trusting her ever again after the situation. Yeah, her husband needs to know.
Tell her husband.
Basically, the best friend that I have known all these years has turned into a complete stranger. I feel like I don't even know her anymore. This isn't someone I want in my life, especially after she caused me to look foolish by bad-mouthing me to her boss. I told her that our friendship was over and that she'd better have a talk with her husband because no way was I going to keep this from mine. A few hours later, my husband got a call from hers. Tori told him the news, and they are now separating, and he will file for a divorce in the upcoming weeks. Tori is, believe it or not, moving in with her coworker.
The one she cheated on with?
I haven't heard from her since leaving the restaurant and honestly don't plan on talking to her ever again. Almost 30 years of friendship gone over a string of lies. As for my husband, him and I had a long talk after revealing to me that he already knew what Tori did. I explained to him that it is never okay to keep things like that from me no matter what. I understand him and Matt have a very good friendship, but me and my feelings should come first in future situations like this. He agreed and will eventually gain my trust back. Just to clear things up, my husband never knew about Tori's affair. All he knew was that Tori sabotaged the job. Also, a lot of you are saying the coworker deserves to know, and I agree. I emailed the HR department at her job and requested a meeting with the woman I had a phone interview with. The meeting is Friday, and I will tell her then about Tori's lie and about the affair, and I will let her handle it how she wants to from there. After this, I'm completely done with her. And by the way, I doubt you'll ever be completely done listening to full episodes with stories like this. All you got to do is go to iHeartRadio or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, search OK Storytime, and we have over 1,224 hours worth of content to beam directly into your ear holes. So I challenge you to go listen to it all.
And if you get the premium subscription, we beam it right into your brain. And then you just like become us. You just kind of absorb our personalities.
Edit number 2. A lot of you guys think that me talking to her boss is a bad idea. I disagree. If anything, I probably won't bring up the affair situation, but I do want to bring it to her attention that Tori lied to her. I don't think her boss would appreciate having employees that would easily lie to their face to cover up shady stuff that they've been doing. I may just send her an email with that part of the recording attached and a quick explanation instead of going to meet her. And yes, I recorded our encounter. If I figure out how, I could possibly post it if anyone would be interested in hearing. I honestly don't care if telling her boss is a effed up thing to do. She didn't give a F about me when she watched me struggle for months and prevented me from getting a job that I desperately needed at the time. So why should I give a F about her? True, let's go. She's not my friend anymore anyway. She needs to learn that she can't just do whatever she wants with zero consequences, so stop telling me not to say anything. Yeah, dude, the consequences of her actions need to come a knocking at her door. And this guy that she's having an affair with that doesn't know he's in an affair needs to know before they move in together. That's absurd. That's almost an emergency.
She effed you over, my guy. You owe her nothing. Zero. Zilch.
So we have some comments here as well. Comment 1, not surprised the affair theory was true, but she was hiding an entire marriage from her coworkers. I don't think this is the first affair. Otherwise, why keep your options open like that? Must have been accustomed to slipping her ring off. Glad you talked it through with your husband, OP. He should not have kept that from you. OP replies, I'm very surprised. She has never been like this, but I guess people change. Not sure how she pulled off the affair either, but I'm guessing her husband knew or had thoughts, but figured if he questioned it, he'd be forced to face it. A second comment says, wait a minute, hold up, wait a minute. You're going to call her workplace and report their affair to the employer? Look, this is starting to go beyond just your friendship. You've said what you needed to say, you've ended the friendship, made her fess up to her husband. No need to get her personal life and affair involved with her work. No, she's a snake.
She involved you with her work. She made sure that you wouldn't get a job at this place. That affected both the employer and OP.
There is an innocent man whose life is at stake. Of course, disclose that she lied about her reference to you. But I don't think anyone wants their dirty laundry aired out to the public. Her personal life has nothing to do with how good she is at her work. That's also not true. Plus, why do you care what the employer who you've never worked for thinks about you? I'm in HR, and they aren't even going to remember your name in the future. It makes sense that you're in HR, because this is terrible advice. There's no reputation to save here if that's what you're trying to do. Or are you trying to get her unemployed? No, she's trying to save the guy.
Wake up!
I was going to say, this is definitely Tori writing this comment.
I am not defending her, but it seems like you have this expectation she was just going to openly tell you she was cheating on her husband. That's an unrealistic expectation no matter how close you are. Wait, but that's exactly what she did.
This commenter makes no sense. The expectation is that she shouldn't have cheated on her husband.
Yes, this is such an HR comment right here. Misunderstanding the basic principle of the entire post. Actually, I have a question. If the affair partner did know about the marriage, do you still bring it up? She somehow knows that he doesn't know about the marriage, but if you knew that he did know, would you still bring it up? I think I don't bring it up there because there's no one to save.
The only thing I kind of agree with the HR is that probably instead of going to the employer and saying it, I would go directly to the guy if you could. If you can't, then you go to the employer and say, hey, I just want to let you know this was going on. But if you can get to him directly, you go down.
Cool. Okay, let's finish this off. I think that it's fair for her to be ashamed and worried about her actions and not tell you what she's doing. You can't really punish her for that.
Who is this?
What are you truly upset about? Is it the fact she lied about the reference? She's explained why she kept it a secret, and she's apologized for why she lied about the reference. Clearly, we disagree with this person, but let's just keep reading. I mean, she betrayed her husband, but did she betray you with the affair?
Yes!
Because of the affair, she sabotaged her job interview.
That she was literally going to get.
And she desperately needed it at the time.
And also, OP's friends with her husband.
This commenter has to be Tori.
Honestly, even if it wasn't for the affair, she doesn't need a reason to not want you to work with her.
She was the one who suggested it, you dumbo.
This is her best friend.
Tori said, hey, you should come work with me. I'll give you a freaking recommendation. And Opie said, okay, if you say so. And then Tori sabotaged her.
She has the right to change her mind. The amount of times I've said something in the moment and changed my mind after, it happens. She could have handled that better and just been honest with you, but it seems like you're more upset with her cheating, and it's not your place to be mad and make her face the consequences. That's her husband's place. You can lose respect for her, distance yourself, and be disappointed, but for you to actively go out and try to make her pay for her mistakes with the affair is not your place. Edit. I'm in HR, and if some person who doesn't work here shows up to tell me X and X's affair, I would find her ridiculous and probably blacklist her. You're bad at your job. And that is the end of that story.
One, that's super contradictory because you just said that oh, why are you so concerned about, this boss liking you?
This is a huge HR problem. HR being I wouldn't even want anyone to come to me with this. It's dude, you have an employee who's actively deceiving another employee into a partnership where they're going to now live together. Do you not think that at some point when the truth comes to light down the road, that is going to explode into an absolute hurricane of crap at the office?
Also, once again, Tori lied to her employer to sabotage a potential candidate. That is super relevant, you dumb idiot HR. HR person, I'm calling your employer. I'm getting you fired.
And you know what? To anyone out there who's working in HR, I bet you're a better HR rep than that commenter.
But that's the end of that story.
I convinced my sister to break up with her rude fiance. Now my family is disowning me.
Break up with them too.
My sister was set to marry a guy who was a complete clown. Is this about the last story?
Yeah.
He seemed like a nice catch to any outsider. He was tall, handsome, very confident, a doctor, basically the sort of guy any woman would swoon over. By the way, this comes from a user, Sister Fiance is a Clown. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit and submit them there. So, unfortunately, he was a sociopathic, unrepentant, self-absorbed person devoid of any empathy, who would take out his anger on anyone he felt beneath him and seemed to enjoy doing it. You know how basically they say, don't look at how your partner treats you, look at how he treats others, and that's how he'll eventually treat you? My sister didn't pick up on that. I picked up on it early. This guy was really mean. He would berate and insult people for the smallest thing and would lose his cool with anybody who looked at him the wrong way. He started doing it to me, and I told my sister early on, this guy is an a-hole. She was like, nah, you two will eventually get along. You just got off on the wrong foot. I told him I've seen him do that to other people, but she seemed to think, oh, but he's nice to me. I'm the special one. Maybe I can change him. Or I just have no idea what he's thinking. After about 2 years together, when they were engaged, the cracks were evident. My parents loved him. His dad and my dad go way back, and they went to the same medical school together and have been close friends for decades. Her fiance is also good friends with my 2 older brothers. After 2 years, my sister was realizing this guy was an a-hole, that he's always been an a-hole, and he won't change. There was a really painfully obvious example one day when we were having dinner, and my sister's fiance and my dad were having a discussion about something political. My sister tried to offer her opinion into the discussion, and they both snickered. Then this guy just started berating her and ripping into her in front of everyone, making her feel this small.
Aww.
I could sense her pain. She was just quiet and just sat there taking it. I was thinking, what are you doing with this guy? He has no respect for you. He has no love for you. Another time, our family was at this dinner function where a lot of big people were around. My sister's fiance completely left my sister alone at the table with me and was sitting at this other table with 2 women, very obviously flirting with them, semi-wasted. He just left her all alone at the table. I asked her what was wrong. Why was he ignoring her? She told me they had an argument earlier and this was his way of punishing her. You see what I mean when I say this guy is a complete sociopath. My sister and I are really close, and even though I'm younger by far, little brothers aren't devoid of wisdom, and I've been urging her from day one to break up with this guy before she gets in too deep. Well, now that she'd spent 2 years with him and was engaged, she was obviously in too deep. And she used to tell me about all the outbursts he has and how he treats her with no respect.
Dude, if anyone like that I was super close with told me to break up with my partner, I'd be like, I
You'd
guess
have to
you're
consider
right.
it.
Yeah, I'd consider it pretty hard because I feel like that's not, unless you're an a-hole, that's not really something that you just say like for no reason.
Yeah. We often had long discussions, just me and her, where she'd spill open like a can of beans and just divulge all the BS that he's put her through recently. Sometimes she'd cry and I'd be there to help her out, but she still seemed to want to stick with him. She actually convinced herself that he loved her behind all of that horrible treatment and couldn't pull herself to cancel the engagement, what with our parents and his parents and everyone counting on it. She knew they'd all say she's crazy turning down this smart, handsome doctor. Who does she think she is? I kept urging her to break up, but she stuck with the he'll change or deep down he loves me excuses. It all came to a head one day when she very publicly exploded at him. We were having a huge dinner, both sides of our families, and I was sitting next to him. He kept bullying me the entire night, Move your elbows over. Couldn't you wear something a bit more presentable? Stop sticking your hand out like that. It's rude. Don't you think you've had enough of that? If I asked him to pass a bowl or the sauce or something, he'd hand it over, but then pull away and be like, say please, say thank you.
Oh my God, he sounds like a jerk.
He was smiling the entire time, laughing. My 2 older brothers were also snickering, and they didn't seem to mind this guy was publicly bullying me and having fun with it. He and my dad started having one of their conversations again, and my dad started airing out all his general frustrations and disappointments regarding me, and they started both talking about my life openly in front of me. Her fiancé then turned to me and started openly lecturing me. And when I tried to ignore him, hey, are you listening to me? What's the matter with you? Your dad never taught you any respect? My sister just then basically exploded. She was sitting at the other side of the table, guessing she didn't want to be near him, but she was watching what was going on the entire time. She just stood up and completely exploded. It was horribly frightening and scary. She started shouting at him, leave him alone! He hasn't done anything to you. Why are you picking on him? Leave him alone!
Leave him alone!
See, this is what, honestly, unfortunately for you, this is what she needed. She needed to see him being mean to someone else that she loves and realize, okay,
yeah,
I'm done.
I've never seen her shout like that or explode like that in my entire life. It was absolutely terrifying. We were all stunned silent. She had tears in her eyes and ran upstairs crying. I wanted to go upstairs to speak with her and comfort her. My dad was like, where are you going? What an idiot. I told my dad I just wanted to see how sister was doing and check up on her. He was like, no, you stay here. You stay seated. So he made me stay seated until the end of the dinner. For hours, my sister was up there and I didn't even know how she was. My dad and mom didn't care. My 2 older brothers didn't care. I had to wait hours until everyone left before I could slip up and go talk to her. She was an absolute mess, crying, mascara running all down her face like Darth Maul. Star Wars mentioned. I told her that she has to end this. She's going to jeopardize her entire life if she continues with this guy. She has to do the painful thing now and rip off the Band-Aid. I told her, you might think it's okay if he just does this to you because you can take it, but do you really want to bear his kids? What if you have his kids and then he starts treating them the same way? She finally agreed with me and said she would end their relationship and break up. It was the only option. Truly. You're right. I just asked one thing, that she doesn't tell anyone that I convinced her to do it, because they all already seem to have it in for me enough already. Well, the one thing I asked her to do, she couldn't hold up her end of the bargain. She still somehow let everyone know that I was the one who so graciously helped her make the right decision.
Oh no.
Of course, this immediately made everyone hate me. Aside from my dad occasionally going off at me and shouting, it was mostly just the silent treatment and people giving me glares, which was easy enough for me to bear. Is your whole family built out of sociopaths? Like, why did no one else have an issue with this guy?
Yeah, they seem pretty awful.
Your sister literally ran upstairs screaming and crying, and nobody went to check on her.
Nope.
My sister moved all her stuff over the next few days out of her fiance's place back into her own apartment, which apparently she's going to live in indefinitely now. Her old room in our house has been converted into a billiard/pool table room anyway. My dad and brothers were making my life terrible, and they blamed me for everything. My mom was occasionally nice to me, but she's nice to everyone. I could feel her disappointment with me ran very deep. Do it again. Close up. She didn't offer any words or comfort or advice, even though she knew my dad and brothers hated me right now. My brothers basically flat out refused to talk to me, aside from a few sentences here and there. They didn't want to engage with me on any level, even when I'd try to start conversations with them. My dad, I just tried to avoid, so he doesn't have any angry outbursts. Were they all in love with your sister's fiance?
I think they're all bullies, and they liked that this little bully man was similar to them.
This all erupted eventually into a huge fight between me and him. He was just shouting at me on and on and on, telling me I was a pathetic loser and disgusting, and my brothers told me how much they hated me. My dad kept saying, it's not enough that you ruin your own life and turn yourself into a failure. Now you have to drag your sister down and ruin her life? Why do you hate everyone and try to ruin our family? No matter how much I tried to explain how this guy wasn't a good guy, they seemed to think it was just a personal vendetta I had against him. My brother told me that I didn't deserve to have my sister as my sister. I told him to go F himself. Good job. My dad was like, what did you say? I told him he could go F himself as well. Yay! Good job! Admittedly, I lost my cool after hours of all of them attacking me. And I shouldn't have said that.
No, you should have said that. You should have said that.
My dad absolutely lost it with me and told me to get out of his house. He never wanted to see me ever again. That's why I go, you got it, Pops. I'm out. I tried to apologize, and he basically just told me to get out, even though I was on the verge of tears. I left the house, and they locked the door behind me.
These people are monsters. To kick out an 18-year-old.
I called my sister, and she came and picked me up and drove me to her place, where I explained to her everything that had happened. She told me that she'd call them the next morning and talk to Dad once he'd cool down, and then he'd be happy to take me back. I'm not going back. Sorry, I'm not going back.
Also,
if I'm OP.
I understand that she's in a very hard place, and that's very fair. But she did kind of cause this a little bit by telling everyone that OP convinced her to break up. So she has a little bit of responsibility to take care of OP.
I was still kind of teary, and she comforted me and told me I shouldn't hate myself or take too seriously what my dad says. And I had been the only one brave enough to convince her to do the right thing. Her place isn't big, but she let me stay there. Her double bed is just wide enough for 2 people, but it was cozy, so we slept well and fine. And the next morning, she called up my parents' home. She wanted to try to talk to them reasonably and see if she could make amends and get them to accept me back. She told me to wait in the bedroom while she had a really long conversation with my parents over the phone. It went well over an hour, and there was a lot of shouting. She told me she was stunned, and she had spoken to both of our parents and our brothers too, and she said that she couldn't believe it and was appalled at what clowns they were being. They said they were serious about not letting me back into their home no matter how much she pleaded with them, and had said she had to go pick up my stuff from my parents' house.
Oh my God.
My sister drove over there and picked up whatever stuff would fit in the car. I didn't have that much aside from my laptop, books, clothes, and we brought it back. She herself seemed horrified at the way they were acting and seemed to be barely able to believe it. She tried calling them again later and the next day even, and they had all calmed down, but they were still adamant that I couldn't return no matter how much she tried to reason and plead with them. She eventually got pretty angry with them too. They were seriously trying to cut me out of their life. My sister told me as a result, she was going to cut the rest of our family out of her life.
Good.
Nice, because why would you want to keep these people around?
They're terrible.
Horrific. I told her that she doesn't have to do that, and she told me she does have to, and she wants to. Honestly, if I'm her, I'm cutting them out anyway based on how much they loved my fiance.
Well, I think she needs to tell her brother, like, this, honestly, I love you and I hate the way they treated you, but also this is for me.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
Truly. She said she was permanently cutting off all relations and contact with our father, mother, and both brothers until they apologized for the way they treated me and accepted me back into their family. I told her she doesn't have to do that, but she insisted it's the least she could do. Instead of making me feel good, it just made me feel worse and more guilty, like I was responsible for the permanent fracturing of our family. It's not your fault. Now my sister has completely cut herself off from the rest of the immediate family and cut them out for life. She told me I'm welcome to stay with her and live here indefinitely as long as I want, even though I barely have any money. And I'm a full-time student, so there's not many ways I can compensate aside from doing chores. She said now that she's actually seriously completely cutting her family off, she'd like to have the one remaining family member close by.
Yeah, you guys need to stick together
So,
because you're the only ones who actually care about each other.
Here I am now. I honestly feel responsible for this whole mess of a situation, which makes sense because you're 18 and you have a good head on your shoulders. I think it's good that I helped my sister get out of that horrible relationship with that awful guy. But now look at the fallout. I'm cut off from the rest of the family. They hate me and don't want anything to do with me, and I'm not welcome back there. My sister has done the same to them, cutting them all off. She said even for the rest of her life, if need be. And by the way, you can listen to full episodes with stories like this for the rest of your life. Just go to iHeartRadio or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts and search OK Storytime. And then you will have 50 days worth of podcasts to listen to, 50 days worth of stories to peruse. And as long as you only listen to like 1 or 2 a day, it'll last basically the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Because we were constantly adding more stories.
Yeah.
It all feels so horrible and terrible. I didn't want it to end up like this, our family permanently fractured apart and everyone hating each other, but it's not your fault. It's not because of you. That might be what happened, but it's not because of you. I just want to make peace for the family and for everyone to love each other again and get back and forgive each other. I really wish there was something I could do to reconciliate, but it seems so unlikely, especially since nobody seems to want to, and I'm at the center of it all. Any ideas for what I can do to help heal this huge rift and reconciliate my family? Or should I just leave things the way they are and get on with my life? Yes, for better or for worse. For better is what that would be. Nothing I can do to help mend the situation.
OP.
And that is the end of the story. And there's not.
My boyfriend is about to propose, but I've been hiding a massive secret.
Oh, how massive.
Using a throwaway account because he is a Redditor, so he might see this. With some identifying info left out and a few timeline details smudged to stay anonymous. This is a hugely emotional story, and I am crying as I write this. Many of the details I have kept secret for years and have not told a soul. Going from 0 to 100 real quick. This is a story where I am unquestionably in the wrong, and I've known about it for years.
Self-aware and rare.
By the way, this comes from Throwaway Liar too. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So first off, we have an amazing relationship. I love him more than I can ever hope to describe, and I want to spend the rest of my life with him. Eventually, we had kids, and we want to grow old together. Other than this admittedly huge thing, I want to know what that huge thing is. I have no reservations after over 6 years together. So for a little backstory, I have stereotypical Asian parents where success and results in school were extremely important from an early age. I realized in middle school that if I didn't tell them about bad grades, then I wouldn't feel the shame of disappointing them. You've learned to lie.
What a solution!
Whoa. I developed a slacker attitude through high school, but managed to do well enough through smart laziness to get into university. I wanted to study engineering. Sorry for being vague.
Niche university, niche degree.
Yeah, niche degree. We love these niche degrees.
Oh, yeah.
So the summer after our high school graduation is when we started dating. High school sweethearts. That's pretty sweet.
It can be great or it can be dangerous.
At this point, I left for college, and he stayed back in our hometown to take classes in community college. We were able to continue our relationship semi-long distance. My dorm was less than a 2-hour drive away, and we took turns visiting each other at nearly every weekend. Through a series of non-relevant poor decisions on my part, I did poorly in school and was put on academic probation.
Uh-oh.
We got a bad kid. I ended up moving back home for a year, taking classes at the community college. I was terribly depressed and did poorly, but lied to my parents that I did well. The simple solution to all of your problems: lie. And ended up telling my boyfriend this as well. My justification at the time was that I did not want him to have to cover for me. In hindsight, this is unfortunately where my spiral of lying about my education became a habit. Yikes.
The ICUs they're popping up above the bush.
If you guys see those ICUs, tell us.
Let us know.
By saying ICU.
Oh, God.
Well, his application to transfer and my application to resume school were accepted for the fall semester, and we both moved. Separately, I would have liked to move in with him, but knew my parents would never allow it. And we moved to the town where the university is located. To be able to continue at school after the semester, I would have to get good enough grades to pull my GPA out of the gutter, or else I'd be academically suspended due to the damage I had done to my GPA the original first semester. At this point, I had resolved to unalive myself if I couldn't get the next semester. OP, and anyone going through rough college or high school stuff, the grade is not everything. There is life after an F.
Yes.
I assure you. I mean, just look at John, you know.
Dude, I'm an idiot.
John,
but I made it, baby.
John did not do a tectonic plate class.
No.
Yet here he is. You don't need to know about tectonic plates to frickin' do well in life.
I know about content.
He knows about content. He's got a PhD in TikTok.
Yeah.
And that will get you further than knowing about the plates.
Exactly.
So again, it's not that deep. School, I did amazing in my degree classes, but ended up ignoring my other classes because I was not interested in them, despite what was at stake. I ended up doing better than my first semester, but not good enough to prevent academic suspension. I am through. I will not be able to continue school in fall. My habit punts in, and I smile and tell everyone that I did well, as I am wondering to myself how I will unalive myself. Over the summer, though, I find that he is my reason to live, this boyfriend, that I could never unalive myself because I know it would hurt him so deeply. I pretend that summer will never end. that I will never have to deal with the reality that I have failed out of school. Much to my surprise, near the end of the summer, I get a move-in packet for the university-owned apartments that I had stayed in last semester and had planned to move back into for the next school year. It is a condition on the lease to stay in these apartments that you must have a minimum of 12 credit hours at the university to live there, but due to some fluke, they did not know that I would not be taking classes due to my suspension. So OP might be able to still lie that she's going to school.
Wow. And just
the lie continues.
Make it in there.
Yeah, I mean, because she could still just go to class and stay in the university housing.
Wow. I see this becoming more precarious.
Oh, boy.
Unfortunately.
Oh, boy.
Sam, do you want to do a trigger warning for that?
Trigger warning, depression, and self-harm. It is vague enough that I feel like maybe it's okay, but...
That may have been the only mention of it.
Yeah, I think that was the only mention.
But still, I'll put that in the notes.
But I've not told anyone about my suspension, so the path of least resistance is to move back into the apartments. Okay. I devise an elaborate lie to my parents about how I wish to pay my own tuition through loans so they can afford to put my sister through school next year. Oh my God.
Getting deeper.
This is not stopping. They are so proud of me. I perish a little on the inside knowing what I'm doing. Oh, the next 2 years are amazing for me and my significant other because I don't actually have any classes to attend or homework to do. It's like all the benefits of school without the school. I am able to spend a lot of time with him, much more time than would be possible otherwise, especially with me supposedly in a tough engineering program. But he doesn't notice, and we are madly in love. Despite my laziness and terrible work ethic, I'm actually very good at math and tutor him through both calculus and physics. Due to feeling useful in some way, as well as significantly helping someone I deeply love, I slowly get over my self-loathing and can view myself as something other than the useless pile of nothing I previously thought I was. I brush off questions of how my own classes are going with lies I've been telling for over a decade at this point. Again, the OP started lying in high school. I'm doing well. I got an A- on my midterm. Homework was long, but I'm done now. I have only vague plans for how I will end the lie at this point. I tell myself that I will work up the courage to tell my parents I am failing and will be quitting school, but as time goes on, I just keep telling the small lies that my education is going well. Then after Christmas, disaster strikes out of the blue. The apartment manager has found out that I am not enrolled in any classes. I realize, though, after speaking with him, that he cannot see my transcript, but only my current enrollment status. Do you think OP is going to tell the truth?
Oh, I wish it were so.
No. I lie to him and say that it was last semester that I had difficulty, and I am in the process of enrolling in night classes to repair my GPA. OP is quick with it. I mean,
she's had it, bro. She has years. A decade of experience. Put that on your LinkedIn.
Yeah, dude.
I have a decade of experience in lying.
I mean, you could be a lawyer or I don't know, what else?
Who else lies?
A con man?
Criminals? I don't know.
Criminals?
Yeah, work for
Crypto
the
scammer?
mafia.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I am in the process of enrolling in night classes to repair my GPA. There is a clause in the lease allowing for this. I enroll in night classes, but have no motivation to take classes that won't count towards my degree. So at least OP is in night classes, but she's not taking. Selection is very limited, and I realize that this is only a temporary solution. I realize my only way out of this is to move out of these apartments, and seeing as our relationship is now almost 4 years old, I decide with my boyfriend to move in with him in a new apartment of our own next semester. So again, instead of OP telling the truth that she's been kicked out of school, for 2 years now?
It looks like 2 years.
Almost 2 years, is that right? I'm going crazy.
Almost about 2 years. Yeah.
Almost 2 years. She's like, I'll just say I'm going to be living with my boyfriend, and then I'll never have to tell the truth.
I wonder what she's doing all day.
Dude, she's chilling.
And
she's
also,
hanging out with her boyfriend.
Did I catch this right that she was like, oh, I can take out the loans to be able to, because granted she's just paying for housing, but.
My understanding is, no, I think she's like, hey, parents, you don't take out loans for me. I'm going to pay it all myself.
Right. Oh, man. Man, oh, man.
For the first time in my life, I openly defy the wishes of my parents and tell them that I am moving in with them. They complain, worry about how it will go, but because I've decided to get a job to pay for my half of the rent, they cannot stop me. For the first time in my life, my own desires have won out over my parents. I guess that's progress in some way.
That is progress in some way. I will say that.
Maybe this will be like the kick in the pants, her caught on fire pants, to finally tell her parents more things that will make them upset. Like, I've been lying for you for the past 2 years.
Could be. It could be.
At this point, I'm ready to end my college charade, but I come to the horrifying truth. My previous exit plan for the lie, to fake a later dropout, will now make my parents hate my significant other. They will think that it is his fault. I'm also too scared to expose the lie as well because I know he will be disappointed. I've been lying to him too, both to prevent him from having to lie for me to others. Up to this point, though, it has only been a huge amount of small lies about being in class or how I was doing in school. I mean, but like, it's not small lies.
It's your whole.
It's like, oh, like John, like ask me what I was up to today.
Oh, what are you up to today?
Oh, like we had just like, some small operations we had to do on the ISS. Like I had to use like a wrench to fix one of the nuts on the outside of the spaceship. Just,
You're
small thing.
screwing nuts in space?
Screwing nuts in space.
That's that sounds dangerous.
That's my job. That's my job.
Really?
Screwing nuts in space.
Really? It wasn't, it wasn't us like sitting in a room like working on all
No, screwing nuts in space. You might think that just because
Right.
like I go back and forth often.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but
multitask.
See, that is not a little lie.
That's pretty big.
It's a big lie about how I'm an astronaut in space working on the ISS. This is a big lie.
It like feeds down into everything in their life because like, oh, like, are we gonna? I feel like it just makes him ask, like you said earlier, what else is there? If you could lie about this, where's the trust in the relationship?
And where's the end of the lie? I mean, I feel like OP's identity is that of a student. She's lying about her entire, like a huge part of her identity.
Yeah.
All right. Question for chat. Question for you, John.
Talk to me.
Let's say OP comes clean.
Yes.
And you are the partner.
Yes.
You staying or you breaking up? There's more to this story, by the way, but are you staying or are you breaking up? I want to know from chat. Maybe, Keon, can we do a little poll? Staying or breaking up, John?
I think the question here is, can trust be rebuilt?
I thought the question was staying or breaking up. The real question,
real question is,
your question
dude,
can go kick rocks.
Dude, I haven't had a real question in a while.
The real question.
Yeah. Probably not. I think this is probably too insurmountable. I also wonder how reliable of a narrator we have.
Yeah, I know.
If there weren't other lies sprinkled in.
I mean, if she's lying, I mean, she could be lying about how much she's lying.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think just not enough trust. I don't know if it can make it. Might have to break up.
Yeah, I'm in breakup camp if I'm BF. So far, 100% of chat is in breakup. One person.
Storm Kitten.
We're calling you out. Storm Kitten, explain yourself.
Sorry to rain on your parade.
Yeah.
But no.
That's crazy, Storm Kitten.
And the Ed boy.
Ed boy, what are you doing? Josephine, what are you doing? I feel like y'all are
now they're just doing it to mess with us.
Yeah, they're just doing it to mess with us. There's no way.
Get us riled up.
Well, most people like Natalie Nola and the Lawyer Princess and Jenny Gardner, like normal people,
yes,
it seems like they would break up.
If it was a few days, if it was a few weeks, different story.
Yeah.
Way too long.
2 years.
Way
That's
too
like most of their relationship.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically it's like do some counseling and then maybe break up. Anyway, 80% of chat says break up.
There we go.
Well, I know in the back of the head I will have to lie more, but I ignore the thought. We move in together and it is a wonderful summer. This is the part I am most ashamed about, not all the other stuff.
Oh, here we go.
The fall semester starts, and I now have to lie to him more than my parents. I come up with a fake schedule and make sure to be out of the apartment at these times every week, and somehow I'm still able to get campus meal plans so we eat lunch on campus daily. I pretend my old textbooks are new and keep a binder full of old tests. His major isn't engineering, he can't tell the difference, and doesn't suspect anything. The lies are too easy. Now she's gloating. I don't like this at all. We have a wonderful year living together and connect at a deeper level than I even previously thought possible. He eventually graduates, and I notice some holes in the process and realize that I can easily fake my own graduation next year. Bro, dude, I feel like OP's just going to get an engineering job. I feel like OP's going to fake a graduation, fake a resume, and I mean, like, all right. How often are like maybe the big engineering companies are like,
yeah,
all right, let me check like with the school. I have never had a job check my GPA. Never.
Yeah.
Never.
I didn't have a GPA to check.
Yeah. Yeah, see, you don't need a GPA.
Yeah. But no, it's like, could she essentially like get in to a job? I mean, this is, if you guys have heard of quiet quitting,
Yeah.
like this is an extreme version, but she could go find like someone else essentially to like contract a lot of this work out to, like a developer, and then like basically
she could hire a developer to do her work.
Dude.
I know a guy that did that at Google. Or a guy, I know a guy who knows a guy who did that at Google and got fired.
Yeah, this is, I think she's reaching, not that I thought it could happen, but even more dangerous levels. This is getting spooky.
And dude, I feel like this is the first time she's like kind of proud of it. She's like, no one suspected a thing. Well, we stay in the same apartment while I finish school and he gets a job. My graduation, in air quotes, comes around. I buy the robes, the caps, the tassel, the graduation announcement, etc. There are too many students for them to do any personal ceremony. You just sit through the ceremony and then walk on stage and hand them your card, and they read your name and degree from the card. My whole family comes, as well as his. My God. And we've all become very close at this point. His mother even spent Thanksgiving with our family, if that is your real family. Oh, God. His parents are divorced. I prepared a fake card using his form from last year. The announcer reads it. Who would suspect that I did not actually graduate when there is video evidence of me on stage shaking the dean's hand? I walk off the stage with my empty diploma cover. Actual diplomas are mailed later. We celebrate and everyone is so proud of me. I almost believe it myself that I've graduated. Holy crap! Ganoda says, she is way too good at this. Yeah. All right, and just to assuage any disbelief about being able to sneak into a graduation, there's a pretty big YouTuber that snuck into the UCLA graduation and walked and got his name read out.
Dude, I was about to say, I think we need to go get like a Harvard, Yale. I think we just need to go get all the degrees.
Dude, I think so. I think so. Dude, collect every degree. We're going to be the most pedigreed men in all of history.
Why not?
Why not, bro? My God. Also, though, but sitting through those UCLA graduations, there's like 40,000, not 40, there's like 10,000 people. And it's just like, it's so boring.
Was yours fun?
Huh?
Was yours fun, your graduation ceremony?
No, it was so boring.
Christian and I had a really good time at our graduation ceremony.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you had some shooters.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
We also had fireworks and everything.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Ours was so lame, bro. Dang. Well, I almost believe it myself that I've graduated. And now we get to now. We have moved. And we both have great jobs. Well, I've managed to get a good job without a degree, and I have fudged the details to friends and families, telling them that the reason I have a job that doesn't match my degree is that I enjoy it more. But we've been talking lately about our future. We put off any specifics until after my graduation, but now that it's passed, we've gotten the serious talk out of the way. I know it's coming soon, and when he asks, I will be saying yes, but my big lie weighs on me. Other than the big lie, the most I've ever lied to him was the various white lies we tell to everyone we know. I've made it a point of it. I feel too guilty from the big one, and I know how hard it would be to stop if I started. The guilt is bad, and I think if I told him, he might even understand, and we could still have a future together. Even if it was the end of our relationship, I am a stronger person than I once was. Even if it is too much for our relationship, I know I wouldn't want to unalive myself out of the shame like I had wanted in the past. Those days are over. But if my family finds out, they won't understand. It will destroy what I now have with them, what they have with him. And if I tell him, either they find out too, or he becomes part of the lie. I don't want to put him through that, and I don't want to do either option. The easy choice is to take this secret, my big secret lie, to the grave. Because of my chosen career path, I don't think it will ever come up that I lack a degree. My employers know that I have partial college. It would be so easy to keep that fact in the dark. But even though our amazing relationship is otherwise free of lies, I feel so wrong knowing that this huge one exists. I feel cornered between hurting someone no matter what I do. And here is a summary of what I feel my choices are. We're going to get into those choices.
Yes.
That OP feels like they have. All right, here's a summary of what I feel my choices are. Choice 1, come clean to him first, and then to the rest of the family. He's going to break up. I would break up with this person.
Yeah.
Dude, I think I would break up. So, result, either we split or my family disowns me because I have lied to them so thoroughly for so long. I lied to their faces to keep the deception, and I am forever a disappointment to them. Both our lives are torn apart, even if our relationship survives. Choice 2, come clean to him and swear to secrecy. Result, either we split or I have now made him lie forever, tainting our relationship. This is a choice I refuse to take. Choice 3, I tell no one and hope it never comes to light. Result, I feel guilty for years, but gradually, maybe the guilt fades. If the lie comes out, it could be even worse, especially if we have kids when it does. I just don't know what to do. I know that I am in the wrong here, and I hope not too many people will dwell on that. I would change the past if I could, but that is impossible. I just don't know what to do. Do I come clean and destroy what we have, or do I take the easy path and continue the path I've been on for years? Edit, I'm headed to work, so I won't be able to respond until after my lunch break. There is more, but yeah, I mean, I think if you've built a life based on a lie, that's just going to suck. It's just going to suck.
Too much of a load to bear.
Yeah, dude, I cannot lie. I think I just burned it out of my my tool set.
Yeah. You're a great truther.
And dude, I tell the truth too much. I tell the truth way too much, and it's way better than lying because at least everyone knows where you stand.
Yeah.
And so I could not fathom this amount to lie.
Dude.
But I would say the solution, if you are trying to get rid of the guilt and you're trying to live your best life, yes, it might be hard in the short term, but I really do think putting this in the light will build a better long-term future for you.
Yeah. And honestly, the chances are slim. I do think there is a chance that the boyfriend might understand.
I also think there's a chance. I also think there's a chance that the parents don't disown her.
Yeah, you know what? There's I think a good takeaway from the story is you never know what someone is going to respond with until you actually tell them.
And and don't speak for your family and your boyfriend. You know?
Totally.
I think you start with telling the boyfriend and see how that feels, and then eventually tell the parents. Kimberly Fine says, I'm not entirely convinced that it is actually possible. With this track record, she could probably pull off a time machine. Yeah, she is. I mean, I feel like she's got that engineering brain keeping track of all these lies.
Honestly.
I think what's weird about telling the truth all the time is sometimes the truth of action changes because we change. That feels deep.
Yes.
What does that mean, John, to you?
Maybe it's we change sometimes. So
our personal truths change.
In living our truths, maybe that changes. But yeah, that's as far as I can get.
I bleed Red Bull 32 says, I'm staying. I can build the trust I've caught into the lie bunks and never brought it up. I hate confrontation. I get too angry. But let's see what the end of this story says. Edit 2, I've been reading everyone's messages for a couple hours, and I want to thank everyone for all of them, both the understanding and supporting ones and the negative ones too. You guys have said a lot of stuff that I needed to hear. Knowing that this situation is more common than I thought makes me feel like less of a sleazeball. This is common?
Uh-oh.
But I've also taken it to a crazy extreme. By the way, if you want to take us to a crazy extreme, you could go from just watching this little video to listening to 53 straight days of our podcast. Go to the extreme. Put us in your ear holes 24/7, whispering sweet nothings into your ear by listening to full episodes of stories just like this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the iHeart app, or your favorite podcast app. Just search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update. I'm going to get straight into it. I'm coming to the realization that I do have some sort of problem. Yes. And I need some sort of help. Yes.
Yeah.
I've always hated the idea of psychologists and mind-altering substances, and I always thought of therapists in the same way. But from what I have read in your comments, it sounds like this isn't the case, and I need to look into that seriously. I'll update more later, but I do want to tell him, but I'm not in the right mental state right now to do so. And that is where that story ends.
I'm checking if there's an update.
Yes.
Wow.
Please tell me there is an update, but holy moly, guac to the moly.
I mean, technically speaking, just in the universe of this story, she got away with it.
She got away with it. She pulled off the heist.
She said, catch me if you can, and they didn't.
Man, I think, again, if this isn't a poster child for telling the truth, is it a poster child for telling?
I think it's a poster child for lying, bro.
I don't know.
She's the most successful liar
She is
ever.
successful, but she feels bad about it.
How bad does she feel, though?
She feels bad enough to write, however long that story was.
Yeah,
that's a long story.
I think you're right. I think it's weighing on her.
I think it's weighing on her. I mean, that's a lot of lies.
insane journey and even more insane that she made it all the way through without telling anyone or it getting out.
Well, question for you guys. What do you think Opie should do? Tell the lie or tell the truth? Put your answer in the comments below. But Johnny Bahami
Yes, sir.
or Keon, do we have another story?
There's another story, yes, but update? There's no update.
No update.
It's just comments of her saying, like, yeah, my job accepted me. They don't need a college degree, and that's about it. There's no update on the boyfriend.
That's it.
That's
Also,
all she wrote.
all right, boys, you ready for this next one? Yes, so let's go.
I refused to be nice to my husband's parents, and it made him upset. Well, yeah. My husband of 1.5 years, let's call him Jonathan, is Indian and I'm Southeast Asian. We met at work, fell in love, got married, and I moved to the big city here in the US to be with him where he's based. By the way, this comes from Just No Indian Mother-in-Law, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, we are doing well financially as we both have good jobs in the city. We are double income, no kids, or dinks. So, we're able to buy a house in the suburbs, 1 hour away from the city to which we commute every day from work. I drive both of us to work as I'm the only one with driving experience. I have made it clear to him from the very beginning that I hate living with other people, don't like having issues with roommates or extended family. And for the first year of our marriage, I stayed at home while he worked as I was waiting for my work permit. And during this time, I played 50s housewife and did everything for him. Cleaning, laundry, cooking, other errands. Now that we both have jobs and are more financially secure, he invites his mom and dad, both are Indian and in their 60s, from India and told me that they would like to visit for 6 to 9 months. 6 to 9 months? That's also a big disparity, you know, like saying 6 to 9 months.
Yeah, true.
Because 6 months is already a lot, but like the just being like, yeah, there might be 3 extra months.
Yeah, it might be like a week to like, you know, a few years, something like that.
What about 6 to 9 days?
Yeah.
Let's start there. I said that's insane, and I don't want to live with other people in my house for that long, not his parents or my parents. No exceptions. I told him 3 weeks to 1 month is my max, and even then I foresaw some issues that might crop up. He proceeds to negotiate with his mom, who then agrees that 3 months is fine. Again, this is not even close to fine for me, and I let him know. But he guilt trips me into agreeing, and he said his mom and dad are very old, and this will probably be the last time they'll visit. Well, then they can stay in, I don't know, like stay somewhere else.
Yeah.
Get them like a place to live.
Right, because this isn't just a visit. This is like you'll be living with them.
If they're living there for 6 to 9, like get them an apartment, honestly.
Yeah.
He proceeds to buy the ticket, even when I voiced out how this is not going to end well. He thinks I actually agreed to this. Reddit, I don't ever remember being okay with this, and if I have somehow made it seem that I agreed, I really regret being guilt-tripped into that decision, and I wish now that I had more spine. After buying the tickets, we bickered a lot about the decision, and one time he expressed that it was his duty as a son to at least give this as a gift for his parents. Then visiting the US, this will be the second time. First time they stayed for 1 month when I had not moved in with him yet. I told him that since he is married, his primary duty is with me as a husband, and that everyone else should not be his top priority. I get that maybe this is a cultural thing, so I reminded him that I have made it clear in the past that I do not want to live with other people for extended periods of time. He denies that I made that clear before and said that he would like to do this thing for his parents. Then you do it. Go find a new place and you can live there with them.
Yeah.
During this conversation, I of course kind of threw a fit and said he didn't care about my feelings, and he responded that I was a cold-hearted person for not agreeing to let his parents live with us, and how his parents will pass away soon, and how again this might be the last visit. I told him, well, next year they will probably be here again, and you'll say the same thing. And what, you'll let them stay for longer because they'll be older and have more chances of... He says he can't guarantee their passing. And again, that I was a bad person for not feeling sorry for them. Reddit, of course I don't feel bad. I haven't even met them. So I apologized and said, okay, maybe I'm out of line and we'll see. Maybe I'll like them. He says I needed a compromise and that I wasn't compromising at all. Dude, you're not compromising.
Yeah.
OP said, hey, 3 weeks. And you said, okay, 3 months.
Yeah.
The compromise should already be that she's allowing your parents to stay there for 3 weeks, but she said, I don't want to live with anyone else.
Yeah.
That's
honestly.
already compromise on her part.
Like her max is a month, but I'm guessing that's not very comfortable for her still.
I told him, wow, 3 months is a huge compromise.
Mm-hmm.
He also mentioned how his mom is self-absorbed and has cut out almost everyone in her life and doesn't have any good relationships with anyone, including him. So I was, of course, thinking she'll also be doing some circus while she's here. Well, Reddit, the day finally came and they arrived. Since I'm the only one licensed to drive, I took a day off from work, even though I get paid by the day, and we both picked up his parents from the airport. All's fine and dandy. They seem like nice people, although a little bit traditional. His dad never says much and just watches TV in the living room. His mom spends time with his dad. This is all they do every day, all day. His mom caters to the dad as he's not very mobile, arthritis issues, and we make sure that they have everything they need in the guest room, which is on the second floor. Month 1. They like to spend all their time in the living room, even when we bought them their own TV. My resentment is growing as I would like to spend some time in the shared areas as well, but they're always hogging it. That is really annoying.
Yeah.
I think not like when you have roommates, it feels really chill just to have people always in the living room.
Right.
But when you have like people over who
Yeah.
are like who you know are your roommates' friends or like a because I've had this happen where like a roommate, not here, but like where a roommate was constantly bringing someone over. And they would just kind of always be in the living room.
Yeah.
Like even when they're not there and you're just like, okay, I don't feel like comfortable in my living room anymore.
When you move in with people, you know, it's understanding that like, yeah, these are shared areas. So everyone like has equal access to it. But when you are just, having people over, like you're not agreeing to that. And if she's used to living alone with like her and her husband, she's going to want that space for herself sometimes.
Exactly. And also she doesn't really have her own space. You know, like she has her room, but that is also a shared space.
Shared, right.
So that's tricky. Oof. They are always in the living room, in the dining room, in the kitchen. We take them to parks often, of course. I am always the driver. I feel like I'm doing a lot for these people, but it's not enough. I learned from my husband that sometimes mother-in-law criticizes me. She'll find something to say. She also always speaks in Hindi, even though she knows how to speak in English, and sometimes refuses to talk to me, but will talk about me even when I'm in the same room. Since we're in the same house, she often hears me and my husband bicker about stupid things, and would later comment how I don't compromise and that we fight too much and couples shouldn't fight. My husband told her that isn't the case and that we're fine. Month 2. My husband and I took a 4-day trip to the neighboring country to have a very minor medical procedure. It's cheaper there. And to have a mini vacation. Husband proceeds to be on video chat with his mom every 5 minutes or so. I voiced out that this is getting annoying as I feel like I'm having a vacation with his mom and not him. He tones it down. During the procedure, the mom kept asking me for updates every 30 seconds. I'm not exaggerating. She just really cares.
She just cares so much.
She just cares so much that she needs like minute by minute breakdown of everything that's happening.
Yeah.
And I told her to chill, as this is a routine procedure. We finally get back home and learn from our friend, who we asked to stay with the parents and home sit while we were gone, that the mom had crap talked us. Mainly how my husband is frustrated with her or how I'm overpowering and domineering. Probably because I'm not a submissive Indian wife. And how she was not consulted when we bought our house. Every other day, my husband blames his mom for being crazy, and then the next day he'll blame me for not being compromising, and he tells me to just suck it up because she's like that and we can't change her. We can not invite her for 3 months though.
Yeah.
That was something that we could have done.
Absolutely in your control.
Some days she'll criticize me to my husband every moment she gets and just generally paint a bad picture of me to him. Month 3. Last month.
We're getting
Home
there.
stretch. We can do this. Whew. I'm also a little bit worried that they're going to extend it.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. They're going to get to month 3 and she's going to be like, oh, well, you know, we need to stay here longer.
Yeah, they're just
and the
not
husband's
going
be
to
like, we
leave.
have to. Yeah.
Oh, man.
They're going to stay that whole 9 months.
And just guilt trip to get their way.
Yeah.
Dude.
Month 3. There are other little things that I complain to my husband about, such as how mother-in-law is hovering in the kitchen whenever I cook, asking me to rewash vegetables, but she never washes dishes and utensils properly. It's driving me insane. I teach her how to use the dishwasher. She doesn't want to use it ever. She says she would like to sweep the floor. I give her the broom and vacuum, but she never does it. Kitchen floor is always crappy. I end up having to clean all this until on the 3rd month. I have given up on cooking and cleaning. I am growing very resentful as we are paying for everything, and she's not old enough to not contribute to the household. One day we took them for a long drive to see the fall foliage, and she was crap talking in the car about me and my husband in Hindi. I told her that she needs to speak English. She repeatedly said, why? I told her because she's in my car and I'm talking to her. She was saying in Hindi how we have no shame and are being overly clever. Reddit, at this point, I wanted to throw her out of my car. Since then, I have not spoken to her. My husband also was very upset, but started talking to her again after a few days. My husband has tried to convince me to be nice to them as they're only here for a few more days. I refuse. He said that this will be the last time he'll invite them because he does acknowledge that his mom is a handful.
Yeah.
But like, that's what you say now, but then, it's
Right.
going to come because you already had this conversation with OP where she said that I don't want to ever live with anyone else.
Yeah.
And you presumably agreed only to say, oh, I don't remember you ever saying that.
Right.
So like, what's
Best
to
remember
stop
this.
you from, saying next time, oh, I don't remember ever saying that this was the last time.
Yeah. Don't trust it. Don't trust it.
Finally, they're leaving next week, and I told my husband on the train today I would not be taking them to the airport. I refuse to put any effort and time and skip work just to drive these horrible people to the airport. It will take 3 hours of my time. I told him to Uber as we can afford it. He became very upset with me and stormed off when we got off the train. I felt really bad that he got mad, so I told my boss I'll take the day off to drive the in-laws. No. Why can't he get a freaking license?
Yeah, what's that about?
What's going on? Like, why do you have to do all of this for his parents?
Right.
And then also get, bad-mouthed and told that you're not compromising or helping out.
Yeah.
When you're doing way more than he is.
You're doing all of it. All of it. Get an Uber.
Get an Uber, buddy. I feel like I'm being taken advantage of and my husband is not defending me. But you can take advantage of full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search Aboki Storytime. But there is a little bit left to the story. Do you have any final thoughts?
This is just so incredibly confusing or
Yeah.
frustrating
Yeah.
for OP, for sure, because she's doing all of this stuff, and yeah, like you said, it's like they're crap talking her in front of her. So it's like, guys, acknowledge me and appreciate what I'm doing for you. It's a lot.
Do it.
Yeah. Come on.
No, it's the very least they could do, and they're not even doing that. Like, they're
Right.
not paying monetarily for this. They're not
Right.
paying in kindness. They're not helping out around the house. What's
going on?
Where's
the point?
Where's the appreciation?
Yeah. Also, what's the point of visiting if you are just crap talking the people that you're around?
Literally, like, why are you even here?
It shows me that you don't really like the people very much. So what's the point of being there?
Reddit, these people are in my house and are disrespecting me and my marriage. My husband has no spine and does not want to draw the line. He wants me to be nice to his parents, who are not even nice to me. I have suggested couples counseling to him, but he has often said that I'm the only one with an issue. He believes that since I have agreed to having them for 3 months, I should suck it up for the 3 months no matter what and not complain. Reddit, and am I really so wrong for not putting up with this? And that is the end of that story.
Wow. My ex's wife demands I pay them back for what happened 20 years ago.
No thank you. Not doing that.
So for some background, my ex-husband and I ended things over 20 years ago. When our son was 2, he stepped out. At the time, I was a stay-at-home mom and going to nursing school full-time. He was paying for my schooling. By the way, this comes from Disturbia Hope, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So after he left, I asked him if he would keep paying for my school so I could finish with no debt. He agreed, saying it was the least that he could do. A few months after that, he got his affair partner pregnant.
Weeks, man.
So wow, he left because of an affair, and now she's preggers.
Yeah.
Dang.
Ooh.
Once she got pregnant, she demanded that he stop paying for my schooling. It was 1/5 of their income, and she said that that money needed to go towards their new baby. He refused and kept paying for the remaining year and a half I had left. Over the years, I continued my education, and now I'm a nurse practitioner.
Oh, yeah.
I do well for myself, and I never remarried. On to the problem. My son called me and told me that he and his wife are expecting.
Exciting!
Wow. I was ecstatic. I asked if I could come over sometime during the weekend to give them some things. His favorite stuff he as a child, a check, and some other small sentimental things. He said yes, so I went over earlier today. I came by and gave him everything, including a check for a few $1,000s for baby stuff, co-pays, the nursery, or anything else they may want. My son and his wife thanked me and told me that the money would be very helpful. My ex-husband and his wife came over a little while later. They surprised them with dinner and didn't know that I would be there. And they saw the check on the counter. My ex's wife asked about it and I said, oh, well, I wanted to help out where I could. Everything's so expensive nowadays. I was really just trying to be polite, but I don't think this is any of her business. business. This woman had the audacity to say, well, maybe since you have all this money now, you can finally pay us back all that money that you took when you went to college. I was dumbfounded. My ex has literally never brought up me paying him back. He's always said that it was the least he could do for both me and our son. My ex has done very well for himself in his career. I didn't see how or why they'd need the money, so I asked them, do you guys need the money or something? My ex said no, and she said, of course not. It's about principle. I told her I will absolutely not be paying them back for college tuition from over 20 years ago, especially when she ended up in our marital home while I was living in a small apartment, barely making ends meet for years after I initially finished school. I've never been bitter or mean. I've always been civil since our kids are siblings, but my blood was boiling. I left shortly after that. According to my son, this has been a point of contention in their marriage. She's brought it up a few times over the years in front of him, and she's insisting to him that he needs to convince me to finally pay back what they're owed. The biggest issue is now that the whole dang family is involved. I got calls from 3 separate family members saying that I need to get over myself and just pay it back. So am I the a-hole here? And there are some comments, but what's our answer? No.
You would only be the a-hole if your ex was like, hey, do you mind paying back that money? And you were like, no.
It's not on her to ask about this.
No, especially because you literally went, do you guys need the money? And your ex went, nope.
Yeah.
I think you need to have a conversation with your ex and say, hey, do you want me to pay that money back? Because, you never once brought it up. And it seems like only your ex is, or only your wife is interested. And then, go from there, depending on what he says.
I get it if it was a thing where it was like it should be paid back and 20 years have gone by, like, sure, it should still be paid back. But if this is something where it was never brought up or never really a problem to be paid back in the past 20 years, that means it can be forgotten in the 20 years.
I mean, it seems like OP was like, hey, do you mind, helping me out with school? It seems like initially the question was, hey, do you mind giving me like a loan? Yeah. And then the ex was like, no, like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So they already worked that out 20 years ago.
But there are some comments. Comment number 1 says, tell her it was the adultery tax or that her husband was ensuring that his son would have a good life with either parent, not the a-hole. OP responds, this is exactly what my ex said. He wanted to make sure that we could both afford things for our son. It was in a way a good investment for him because we went half on basically every activity that our kid was in, his first car and his college tuition. We definitely couldn't have done that if I only had a high school education.
Exactly. I mean, yeah. No, investment paid off.
Right. Like, it's not necessarily child support, but it is in a way child support.
It helps out because then
sure.
you don't, he didn't have to pay for all those things solely in the future.
Exactly. But there is an update. So first, I want to clarify some things. Yes, it was our marital home. We bought it after getting married. I didn't fight so hard for it in the divorce for a few reasons, mostly that she was borderline pestering me about how they needed the house for their growing family. I also didn't want to deal with a longer and more drawn out divorce, and it would have been if I fought for the house. Yes, he bought me out of the house. However, it really wasn't much, as it was late 2007. Most of it went towards credit card debt anyway. Another thing, when he was paying for my schooling, we were still legally married. The divorce didn't finalize until after I graduated. There was no child support until after I graduated. There was never any alimony. I did live in the house while I was in school, and they lived in an apartment. He paid all of those bills, including hers, after she got pregnant. So his finances were tight at the time. The family that called weren't my relatives. They were my ex's and his wife's relatives. I thought they were family, but they've since been blocked. So on to the update. I got off work yesterday to find a few missed calls from my son. When I called him back, he tells me that his stepmom has now asked for the money from the check since it was almost the same amount that they spent on my college.
Money from what check?
From the check that OP gave to her son.
Oh, no.
No, not at all.
And that's when the son goes, sorry.
Yeah.
Seems like a you problem.
Right. Now you're just taking money from the son.
Literally, like, why does she need that money?
Yeah. It's just
they have
spite.
enough money. They're comfortable.
Just spite, man. I don't know.
Spite and greed.
Also, you're the affair partner. There is a bit of hierarchy in this situation.
Yeah, like you knowingly had an affair with a married man.
Yeah, and now you're harboring this resentment. I'm guessing
guilt, resentment.
I'm guessing this is some sort of resentment towards OP and just like being super bitter. But you are not in a place to do that. You were the affair partner. You were the other woman. So I don't know, man. She said that it was obvious that I'd never pay my debts and that I would just give him, my son, more money anyway. I'm stunned. I'm pissed. I don't know what has possessed her to think to ask my son for money intended for his family. I tell my son to ignore her and I'll handle it. So next, I call my ex. It goes straight to voicemail. I try again a few minutes later and it's the same thing. So I reluctantly call my ex's wife and she answers immediately. I tell her the three of us, my ex, her, and me, need to meet first thing in the morning to discuss the debt. I'm thinking this needs to happen in person with all three of us so that there's no confusion. She agrees. This morning, we met at a coffee shop near my ex's work. As soon as they sit down, I say, "So, ex's wife, want to tell me why you think it's appropriate to ask my son for money?" My ex looks at her and says, "You asked our son for money?"
Uh-oh. You didn't know about that. You're not going to be happy about that.
She starts on about how she was only asking for the money that they're, quote, owed, and she didn't ask for more than was on the check. Then she says, "For years, we've struggled to paying for your school. For years, we couldn't afford a new car, a new house, or a nanny. My kids had to share a room."
Oh, boo-hoo.
Boo-hoo, dude.
A lot of kids had to share rooms.
Yeah, like, I have a problem with the husband then and not OP.
Like, talk. Why is this OP's issue?
Exactly.
Also, sorry, you couldn't afford a nanny?
Yeah, like, a lot of people can't afford a nanny. That's
not
it's
like
an expensive thing.
Yeah. Come on.
She goes on about her struggles. And I started to tune her out because I keep thinking that there's no way she's this deluded. It may have been inappropriate, but I laughed. I literally took out thousands in credit card debt to keep me and my son afloat while my, at the time, husband was shacking up with her and paying her bills. My ex looks at her and says, "What the heck, Sarah?" I added, "It's laughable that you think you're owed anything from while you were a mistress. We were married when he paid for my schooling. It's quite literally none of your business how he chose to spend money. You had zero entitlement to his money until you said, 'I do.' And from what I recall, that wasn't until years after the divorce was even finalized. Do not contact me or my son about this money again. You will never see a dime from me." Wow.
Yeah.
That was a great response.
Yeah. Honestly, also very important information that
we didn't know.
They weren't married.
Yeah.
Until like way after all of this money.
Way
was,
after.
You know?
Yeah, and the fact that their family was struggling while he was paying for the affair partner.
Exactly.
That's
exactly
literally the same exact situation that she's complaining about. And OP isn't asking for that money back.
Yeah.
She rolls her eyes and gets up to leave. My ex tells her that he's going to stay for a minute. After she's gone, he asks why I didn't just call him and tell him about what was going on. He said he would have handled it and that it didn't have to go this far. I say I did call him twice, actually. And this is how we figured out that she's blocked my number from his phone.
Oh, dang.
Whoa.
Dang.
Crazy. So those of you who said that she's just very insecure, you were absolutely correct. By the way, you would be absolutely correct if you just listened to full episodes with more stories just like this one on iHeartRadio, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Just search OK Storytime.
It's the correct thing to do.
The correct thing to do. And there is a little bit more story, but I feel like we've gotten so much information in these past few sentences.
Really? Like, really everything is coming out right now.
Yeah. A lot of very important information. So glad that the husband is not on the affair partner's side.
Clearly in the dark about a lot of what she's been doing.
Yeah. So, it's not 2 against 1 in this situation. Or at least not 2 against OP.
Exactly.
Wow. There is a little bit more to the story. I tell him that she involved his sister, cousin, and his sister-in-law. That I got several cars and texts from them telling me that I should just pay back my debt. Finally, I tell them that she involved the family and then asked our son for money intended for his baby. She has crossed too many lines. He apologizes and says that he'll make sure that she doesn't bother me about it again. We both leave after that. My son told me that he blocked her number and doesn't want her at his house until she apologizes. And that's pretty much it for now.
I resent my husband's family because they treat him like a piggy bank.
There's no coins that are going to fall out of him.
I, 32 female, have been with my husband, 35 male, for a little more than 15 years.
All right.
Dang. We met in high school. I stayed with him while he completed 4 years in the Navy. He stayed with me when I was diagnosed with MS and later Crohn's disease. Wow. By the way, this comes from Jean Lilly. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So his family was not invited to our wedding because his anchor person, his uncle he loved and who raised him like a father, passed away. The family left behind, in his words, don't know how to act right without him, and he's gone no contact for years. It wasn't my business at the time, but it boiled down to an accumulation of small things, like emptying the bank account he and his uncle built together to build a life with me when he got out of the Navy, to bossing him around because his aunt, who his uncle was married to, is morbidly obese and disabled, always needing help. But the worst, in his opinion, was the manipulation, where they would say, your uncle would want you to do this, if he ever disagreed with something they wanted from him. Before he was discharged, he decided he hated all their guts and came to live with me and my family and never spoke to them again until we got pregnant. We thought it couldn't happen. We thought I was too sick, but 2 years ago, we had a miracle baby after more than 10 years of trying. He had always wanted to be a dad, and he's still a wonderful parent to my son. We split the responsibilities 50-50, like those new age dads trending on social media right now. He gives me breaks every day since I'm still sick. And my mom helps too when he's at work. But no matter how tired he is when he comes home, he wants his son and lets me be off the clock for the night anyway. For some reason, after our son was born, some kind of switch flipped. And now it was like all the resentment he felt just washed away. And he wants his side of the family involved in our kid's life. I have no problem with that. Mending fences, giving my son a community, especially since he's biracial, we're Hispanic and his dad is black. I know he needs exposure to his heritage, but I'm worried about some of the role models represented on his side from all I've seen. Remember, I haven't been in contact much either. I can only go off what I've seen. And what I've seen are things like his aunt acting helpless and playing victim while stealing money from others, like pawning all of my husband's things when he was in the Navy. His brother has been in and out of jail ever since juvie. His mom is great to converse with and talk to, and she understands my boundaries really well, is proud of my husband, but she didn't raise her kids. They all got taken when they were young, hence my husband's uncle raising him. And now she's trying to raise money to post his brother's bail, which we both agree is a bad idea, and a waste if he never learns not to go back. Then there's his sister, who was labeled as a gold digger a long time ago. As long as I remember, she's always asking him to buy her something more. Then she's saying she loves or misses him when she sees him. It's always baffled me. His other brother seems a little bit of a hustler, but is the mildest of all the family I know. He just owns a collection of expensive shoes, but somehow still needs money or finds money in odd places. But he has my respect for having a long-time girlfriend and, to my knowledge, helping take care of her child, and sometimes their dramatic aunt since my husband's been gone. I want to say I can still live with all that. No family is perfect, and I don't even really know them to judge. It just sucks. I've never really gotten a chance to know them for years because of my husband's attitude towards them, until all that magically went away when my son was born. The problem is, we're broke. So broke, my husband has had at least 10 jobs over the last 12 years, always minimum wage. The world is tough since I had to stop working myself with my illnesses. I don't want to burden my husband and whine the way he said his aunt used to be. I don't want to manipulate him like she did, especially since some women do by dangling their kids over their heads, threatening to take them away. He's a good dad. So I do a lot myself. Housewife stuff mostly, day to day. And I run a small art business on the side. Just a couple $100 a month extra maybe. I also manage our government account where we get the benefits that pay for my and my son's healthcare and all our food. But we still live with my parents. We wear Walmart clothes, and I don't even have a cell phone, which always baffles people. It's just more important for my husband to have one, especially since the car broke and he's been having to bike everywhere. We are that short on cash. But we set it up that when he gets paid, we take out my parents' rent. It's not a lot, but we feel we have to pay for something. We're 2 people, a baby, and our little dog living out in the garage they keep updated with a nice AC and a fridge, and all the things we need to be independent. It's usually about half his paycheck. Then he gives me a small amount to help with certain expenses like diapers or clothes we need. The boy is always growing and needs all kinds of stuff. The money I make from my side business is my spending money. What's left in his account every month is his spending money. I use my money on things like DoorDash, going out with my mom once in a while to bookstores or the mall or whatever. I like getting my son new toys. He loves cars and has a million of them. Maybe nicer clothes I think are super cute. He uses his money on maintaining his phone, DoorDash, or keeping his PlayStation Plus account. He also has gotten me treats now and then. I'm not a hair, makeup, or nails girl. I like food and snacks or flowers sometimes. Lately, that's sort of stopped, but that's okay. I also stopped getting him as much since it's all redirected to my son. My real problem crept up when I found out he's been giving his family money behind my back.
Ooh.
Yeah, the behind your back is not great.
No.
Especially when you guys have like financial trouble going on right now.
Right.
That's really, really frustrating.
And he kind of like stopped giving you things that he usually does too.
Which would be okay if he was honest about it, you
Yeah.
know, and said like, hey, would it be okay if I didn't, get you some of this stuff?
Right.
Because I want to help out my family.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's a conversation that you guys have together and see what you can afford.
Right.
Nothing out of our expenses. He's been using his spending money. I was furious, not with my husband, but with his sister mostly. I found the text where she was asking money for a hotel, for food, for an Uber, just stuff here and there. And for a few months, he would send her $40 every month without telling me. Again, my first honest reaction was resentment towards his sister. He has me, his sick wife. He has a son. They know our living situation, and she has the audacity to go back to her old ways and beg for crumbs. My husband argues she's in a bad place and needs it. But I told him I saw her iPhone last time she was around. Nice nails, weave. She has a job, a car, and she can use her legs. I have none of those things, and I make it work. Yeah, I mean, he's saying, oh, she's in a bad place.
Yeah.
So are you guys.
Right,
You know?
right. It can't be the only reason that you're doing this.
If he wants to use his spending money on that, it's his choice, but I wanted him to know what he's doing and think about it carefully. I'm reflecting his attitude he had towards his family when he left them years ago, how it hurt that he couldn't tell me, but I did understand why, because he was trying to spare the feelings I was feeling right now. But I'm just very wary of them taking advantage of him. Again, when they have all the means to do for themselves, especially when I'm using my spending money on things like cool toys for my son and Christmas gifts for him. Did he really want to provide extra for his sister over his child? He apologized and understood my point of view, so he stopped sending his sister money. A few months later, his mom reached out and asked for $200 for some kind of expense. For car, I think. Why are they reaching out to you guys?
Yeah, what?
Like, what? You guys don't have the money to be spending stuff like this.
Right. Too far.
Yeah.
Too far.
This time he asked me if he should, and it would come from his spending money. I told him it's okay, and the choice is his. If he wants to help his mom this one time, I would help him with his phone bill that month and his PlayStation Plus from my money. But he would have to go without his extra lunches. He likes Popeyes and Taco Bell. He was cool with it, and we sent the money. Mom promised to pay him back, but I told him not to ever expect to see a dime again. When you're giving money away to people who, don't have the funds, you just kind of have to go into it knowing that you might never get that money back.
Yeah.
Like, you have to make sure that this is money that you can afford to lose.
Right. I mean, it's definitely reasonable for you to want that back.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And try to get it back, of course.
Right. But like, for your own sake,
yeah.
You definitely, you don't want to agree to it unless you are able to actually lose the money.
Yeah. Don't give away money that you can't afford to.
The risk.
Of course, so far, I have been correct. His mom used to make trips to come see her grandson, but after she owed my husband money, that stopped because she said she has car troubles. Now I'm pregnant again with our second son. It's another miracle, but we worry about me making it out alive as it's another high-risk pregnancy. So we are cautiously hopeful. I'm due in just one more month, and so far everything is great with the baby. So I'm happier and happier as time goes by. We're still tight on cash, but luckily I know we will be okay since we can reuse all the stuff from my first son for my second. We're just working on trying to save to get a car and move out because I think we've relied on my mom and dad too much already. Though my mom is scared of my conditions and postpartum, she's convinced me to stay a little longer while we save and get help with the new baby. But now his sister and mom keep messaging me, and I hate the feeling of annoyance I get when I get a notification from them asking about baby showers and the baby's due date, etc. Not even getting into how they care about the baby more than me or my life being at risk, by the way. And by the way, you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime.
No risk at all.
No risk. But do you have any final thoughts before we finish the story?
Just a tough situation.
Yeah.
Like, I want to call it hypocrisy, but I don't really think you can call it that. But it's just like, you're expecting all this stuff from me as if I'm in a different situation than you. You know,
I'm like, you guys don't have your own place. You're living with your parents.
Right.
You're trying to save money.
Yeah.
But you don't have the funds to help them out when you're you're guys in the same place.
Exactly.
Oh.
So it's frustrating.
Very frustrating. But there is a little bit left to the story. I'm afraid of saying the wrong thing, so I usually just wait to tell my husband, and he reaches out to them to answer questions. I'm just jaded from them, and I'm not even sure they're the kind of people I want in my son's lives. But I'm doing my best to get on my husband's thought train and not let these icky feelings consume me. So how do I deal with this? What's the right way to deal with my own shameful feelings? Am I the a-hole for having this resentment in the first place? It's just money. I'm not supposed to feel like it's my husband, his money, and my kids all belong to me, not them. I mean, and that's the end of that story. My girlfriend demands that I stop seeing my daughter, so I told her to leave.
Yeah, absolutely.
My partner, 22 female, and I, 24 male, have been together for just under a year now. And a few days ago, she asked if we could talk. I immediately feared that she wanted to break up. However, after our conversation, it was not what I expected at all. By the way, this comes from Embarrassed Leg 2875. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, a bit of background for this is that I have 2 daughters aged 4 and 2. I became a single dad when I was 20, just a few months after my first daughter was born. Her mother left us, and I've been raising her on my own ever since. About a year or so later, I met my now ex-partner. She was very pregnant and, like me, was facing the reality of being a single mom soon. Her baby daddy had left her and their daughter, leaving her with no support. We were together for almost 2 years and were a blended family. During that time, I raised our youngest daughter as my own, loving and caring for her as such. Both of my daughters are daddy's girls, and I cherish our relationship. I've never once second-guessed my role as their father. Unfortunately, my ex-partner struggled with mental health issues, including BPD and bipolar disorder, which eventually led to infidelity. Despite our attempts at couples counseling, I realized I couldn't continue the relationship. We split amicably, but I made a promise to my youngest daughter that I would always be there for her, and I fully intend to keep that promise. She spends weekends with me and occasionally stays a few days during the week, and this has been a constant for over a year. What a great guy. Like, to not only be an active parent for his biological daughter, but also to be an active parent for a child he's not related to, but still sees as his daughter. Like, wow.
I know. Go girl dad.
Yeah. Now, fast forward to the present. I met my current partner shortly after my breakup, around a month later. Ooh.
Dang.
Perhaps not the best way to go about that. Honestly, it was supposed to be a casual fling, but we hit it off so well that we ended up spending the whole night talking, playing games, and getting to know each other. We didn't go beyond kissing, but it felt great. From the start, I was open about my situation of being a single father to 2 girls and the unique relationship with my youngest daughter. At the time, she seemed fine with it and didn't bring it up again. During our recent talk, she expressed that she's uncomfortable with the fact that I'm still involved in my daughter's life and my ex's life. She said that it's emotionally ignorant and unfair to her that I continue this relationship. And in her words, you can't possibly love her as much as your actual daughter. She's not even yours. Just terrible. Terrible. This really hit me hard, and I admit I didn't handle it well. It turned into shouts on both ends, and I told her to leave my house. The crappy part was both my kids were in their rooms and heard the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you got to be careful about that.
Yeah.
I really hope they hardly heard anything or nothing at all. It was probably the first time they ever saw me like that. She said she went to stay with her sister, and now everyone is messaging me from her friends and family, backing my partner's opinion that she isn't even mine, and questioning why I care so much about her. How tone deaf. Like, I just respond like, no, she is mine. She is mine. And don't question my relationship with my daughter.
Yeah, it's like the kind of thing where it's like, first of all, why does it matter?
Yeah, like it's none of your business.
Yeah.
Thankfully, my family is on my side and is doing their best to support me emotionally, but it's hard as they live in another state. My mother and stepdad are planning on flying in this coming weekend to help out, which is the best news I've heard all day. Honestly, I'm really confused right now. Am I being unreasonable or unfair? I am struggling to process my emotions and don't know what to do next. Note, I should also add that my ex and I remain decent friends, and she's a great mother to our youngest daughter. However, my oldest daughter's mother is currently MIA and has been for some time and is not in the picture. My youngest daughter's mother is a great mom, but works as a flight attendant for a few years now, so that's the only reason my daughter stays with me a couple days a week on some occasions, so she can pick up extra hours when she wants or needs. This only occurs 3 to 4 times a month, if that. Mentally, she is much better and is doing her best. We just didn't work out, but continue to make sure that our daughter will always have me as her daddy.
Oh,
lovely.
That's sweet.
Like, why would you get into a relationship with someone who like has 2 kids and then expect them to get rid of the kids?
Yeah.
Like, just get in a relationship with someone who doesn't have kids.
Yeah, like it just sounds like her only like motive for this and for these feelings is just like, oh, that's really weird that like you care so much about your ex's biological child. Like, what? Are you still talking to her or something? Like, that's what it sounds like.
Weird. Also, my girlfriend now doesn't live with me. She does, however, stay a few nights out of the week, and we do go out when I find the time. I haven't heard from her since the incident, which maybe is for the best. When I wrote this, I was definitely trying to word my best during this, and when upset, words don't really form in the best way. I do not ever plan on leaving my daughter's life. What I was more looking for in answers was if I was wrong for punting her out. Should we have talked more about it? I mean, to be fair, you seem like, rightfully so, pretty defensive about your daughters and their place in your life.
Right.
And your girlfriend was just like, just get them out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want them here. And so she was being pretty insensitive.
I agree.
I also don't think I hopped into a relationship too fast after my first daughter. It was over a year later and maybe more when I met my ex. Then a month later after that, my new girlfriend, which is really fast and was probably the quickest I've ever jumped into a relationship, but I really thought we had a great connection. My first daughter's mom was my high school sweetheart and we were together for years and even were each other's first, but after our daughter was born, she completely changed and just decided she had to leave. Comments? Yeah. Do you have any thoughts before we jump into the comments?
No, you go right ahead.
Comment 1, not the a-hole. Might I suggest gently that you pursue therapy and stay away from relationships for a bit? You're quite young and it's been a series of train wrecks. Focus on yourself and your daughters for a bit. Comment 2, your girlfriend is an a-hole. Take some time and focus on yourself. Also, a piece of advice though, emotionally she might be yours and that's great. However, legally she isn't. If you mean that you want this little girl in your life forever, it might be worth talking to your ex about adoption. Your ex could change your mind and remove your daughter from your life at any time. And there is an update. I think that's pretty smart.
Yeah, but I feel like that's not what he wants though, right? Like,
what do you mean?
Like, because that's suggesting like giving up that daughter for adoption, but I don't think that's what OP wants.
No. I think that commenter was saying that he could legally adopt her. So not saying that the mom would lose her parental rights, just saying they both would have legal rights to this daughter.
I see.
Yeah, so he would actually legally be a father to his daughter.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, I feel like you could talk to her about it.
Yeah.
And like, you know, probably could work out some like making sure that she would probably still want the same amount of custody that she has.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a way. Update. Thank you all for the incredible support after my post. My girls and I are truly grateful. A special thanks to all the parents who stepped up for a child when it wasn't expected. Children often face the harsh realities of broken homes and crime, and they need our protection. They are innocent and didn't choose to be born into this world, so they need us more than we realize. As parents, we may feel we're not doing enough or wish we could change things, but the past is behind us, and all we can do is strive to be better. I have legal rights to both of my children. Okay, so OP already has that.
Oh, wow.
For my oldest, the courts granted me full custody after her mother abandoned her, and I don't receive child support nor want any from her. For my youngest, I have joint guardianship, which is different from adoption or full guardianship and visitation. Her mother suggested that since she sees me as her daughter's only father. While adoption isn't possible right now due to her age and our unmarried status, we're safe on that front. The courts typically require a stronger bond before approving adoption, even if we feel it differently. During my breakup with my youngest daughter's mother, she deeply regretted her mistake and tried to make amends and wanted to continue our relationship. However, I couldn't move past it, though I still love and care for her as the mother of my child and a good friend. She's since moved on, but still views me as her child's only father. Despite her mistakes, I know she's worked hard to better herself, and I forgave her a long time ago. To be fair, this relationship was the quickest I've ever been in, and it was only my third one in my entire life. My first relationship lasted years, starting when we were both 14, and my second came over a year later after going through tough therapy to cope with the challenges of being a single father at such a young age. Moving forward, I plan to focus on therapy, spend time at home with my kids, and work on my small cafe business here in the Valley. But there is an update.
Oh boy, another one.
Is this a California person?
Perhaps.
Is that the Valley that you're referencing?
Ooh.
Any thoughts?
I think that's answering a lot of questions we had about adoption and everything.
Truly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we understand that he literally has like some legal rights to this child or to taking care of this child.
Right. Right.
So even more so, it's like all the people who are saying, you know, oh, why do you want to take care of this child? It's not even your child.
Yeah.
It's like, no, like legally, like she is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's just so weird. You just gotta get away from these people.
Mind your business.
Exactly.
Honestly, all of this really blindsided me. Looking back, she seemed perfect. She was always doing little things for me, randomly getting me gifts, and even cooking for me when she stayed over. She'd initiate intimacy every time, and I get these constant steamy photos from her. So it honestly seemed like she was really happy and content with everything. I thought I lucked out and found someone who truly understood me and made me feel valued. But in hindsight, it's clear that people are better at hiding things than we often realize. She clearly wasn't okay with any of it, and I had no idea. It's crazy how someone can put on such a perfect front and completely seem like a different person the next day. Anyways, after my post gained some traction that same night, I sent a brief text to her saying that I'm sorry for the way she feels and that we aren't right for each other and that my daughter will always be my daughter no matter what. My love for my girls will always be greater than. Later last night, I was just hanging out with my girls watching Moana 2 in my room. We all passed out in bed thinking it would be a peaceful night. But at 2 a.m., I was woken by a loud banging on my door, which sent a wave of panic through me. I immediately woke up, grabbed my piece, and went to see what was going on. It was my now ex-girlfriend, stumbling wasted and emotional, completely out of control. She was pounding on the door, yelling and crying, and honestly, it terrified me and probably my kids as well. When I opened the door, there she was, standing there, begging to talk and wanting me to hear her out some more. To make matters worse, my oldest came to the door since she too wanted to know what was happening.
No.
I quickly told her to watch over her little sister, making sure she was okay, while I dealt with the situation. My oldest went into big sister mode, which made me proud in that moment.
Oh.
Realizing that things were probably getting out of hand and that I couldn't get her to calm down, I knew I had to do something. I called the police and explained that my wasted ex was at my door refusing to leave. Within less than 10 minutes, a police car pulled up and they quickly took her into custody. The situation was over just like that, and I haven't heard from her since. The officer suggested I file a restraining order, which I already planned to do after everything that happened. Wow. I mean, like,
wow.
Crazy that it escalated to this, extent.
Yeah, and just even more reason not to be with this person.
Truly. Then just a few hours ago, I got a call from an unknown number. It was a friend of hers asking if I had seen her, and it felt so good to tell her that her friend was probably in jail and that she wasn't my responsibility anymore since she wasn't even my blood. That suggestion came from a comment on my last post, and it honestly felt so empowering to finally set that boundary. Yeah, it's like, oh, we're not legally married or related or anything, so I don't have any responsibility to her.
Yeah. You can figure it out on your own.
Yeah, that's your thoughts on my daughter, so clearly I don't have any responsibility to your daughter.
Exactly.
Or sister. Now things are starting to calm down and I can focus on taking care of my kids and myself. I have blocked everyone associated with her and plan on just living for now and doing what I can to be the best dad. I mean, I think you're doing a great job so far.
Totally.
Maybe one day I will show my girls this post in times if they ever feel alone in this world to let them know that daddy will always have their back. He's such a good dad for such a young man. To my wonderful children, I am proud of you and will always be, no matter who comes into our lives. I will always choose to be your father first and never last. I cannot wait to see what amazing things you do in this world and what amazing things you will do for others. And when my time eventually comes, know this, you will both always be my greatest achievement. I love you so much.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, that's the end of that story.
Wow, what a sweet ending.
Lovely. That's
oh
so
my
sweet.
Gosh.
I love that. Go be a great dad. OP, go continue to be a great dad. I have no suggestion or advice. You
notes.
Handle that perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely. Good riddance.
Truly.
Yeah.
But that is time for us to rid you of this episode.
Yeah.
Because that's the end of it. So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.